them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, we'll figure out a team that got ghosted this weekend and try not to make it Alabama as we start our live show now. Hopefully you were here with Monday Morning Live in the middle 8. Later on, LT is locked in with Brock Heward. We will carry the Kalen DeBoer news conference coming up at 12 noon. We may sneak in the little Kane Womack at 11:45 live on the show. Nate Oats will join us in overtime today, so don't make plans to leave. Not that it's basketball season officially in Tuscaloosa, but we will talk basketball at 12:20ish today with Nate Oats. But as LTD and B, Tyler and Forrester and EG and Taylor come to you today, everything at Next Round Live on our social media platforms, we start with what I am calling the biggest upset that Alabama's faced since 1980 in Starkville when they lost 6-3 after coming off back-to-back national championships. I know they've lost to Louisiana Monroe. I know they've lost to some other teams along the way that were pretty big upsets. But LT and Brownie, never has there been a mismatch of talent on the field that Alabama has lost as one of the best teams in the country, to me, since all the way back in 1980 when Starkville, or Jackson, I think it was that day, Mississippi State beat Bama.
Yeah, I don't remember that game. I remember the historical magnitude of that game. But to me, watching Alabama football for 40-plus years, this is the worst loss or most surprising loss, however you want to word it. And, Brown, I would say this, and I was just talking to Taylor and EG about this. Like, literally, if you had all black, all white uniforms, no numbers, no names, I would have been like, they were that physical. Kane Womack knew what was coming. They couldn't get them off the field. They were converting third downs when, all they're doing is trying to run the clock out. I mean, from the jump, I thought it was like an equally played game.
So, in other words, you're saying if this was an IROC race, you wouldn't know if it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving or Hut Strickland driving?
I mean honestly, no. Did you guys see anything like, damn, those guys are more physical, those guys are faster?
That's what makes this so amazing. You compared it to the Mississippi State loss in Jackson back in 1980. Jason in the MyBookie.ag chat room is like Memphis State in 1987 was a bad loss up in the Liberty Bowl.
It was a bad loss. But
how good was the 87 team?
That's
exactly.
my point.
That's the difference.
And Alabama's talent compared to the others. I mean, they're bad losses.
They were just beating Georgia 28-0.
I know.
Less than a week before they're down double digits to Vanderbilt.
And that is what makes this so crazy, is that Alabama was number one, and I watched that game, and that was not a fluke.
No, you're right.
Point, that was not a fluke. It wasn't like, Jalen Milroe just randomly threw 3 pick sixes, and you're like, when do you ever see that happen? There was a pick six in there.
He threw for 310 yards.
He threw for 310 yards. Yeah. That was not a fluke. That was Vanderbilt lining up and saying, we think we can be better than you. We don't have to trick you.
They never trailed. They were 12 of 18 on third downs.
I know.
That is beyond embarrassing. And I can't, and look, and I got a lot of messages, as you guys can imagine, that Kalen DeBoer is not this guy.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer is the wrong guy. I don't know what you were thinking with Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer was playing for national championship when Nick Saban was watching on the couch. Kalen DeBoer can coach. There's an underlying problem, and I know we'll get to number 13 at the end of the game. One of the most embarrassing things. Like, this is one of the most, if not the most embarrassing loss. That is one of the most embarrassing individual acts that I have ever seen in college football.
Okay, well, let's get into it then, since you went that deep into it. Tell us about Odie's, and then we'll get to the video, the sound. Tyler will come and help me with the sound here, because we have a couple of ways to attack Malachi Moore and what went on at the end of the game. But Odie starts us off here.
Yeah, great place to watch games all weekend long. Major League Baseball playoffs this week. Sit out on that patio. Hopefully we will get to fall weather sooner than later. 2 locations, the original in Crestline, the newest location in Edgewood. Great food from Ronnie Davis from the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of Bud Light. Get in, see Will Haver. 2 locations. It's Odie's.
And if you're superstitious like I am, then whatever you were wearing on Saturday, you throw that away and you burn it. So you need new Alabama gear. So you get that from our friends at the Pants Store. Is that a good transition?
That's a great transition.
Yeah, you burn whatever you were wearing Saturday. I've actually taken the couch out to the road. Hopefully they're picking it up today because that's where I was sitting. The Pants Store, pantstore.com, wherever you're watching today, including in Nashville, Tennessee. You can get great Alabama or Auburn polos, hats, and quarter zips. They're your game day headquarters. Pantstore.com, but also in the locations, the original in Leeds, multiple ones around Birmingham. They're in Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and Auburn, Horn Legend, Cutter Buck, Antigua, Gentile, all the name brands there. They got the rompers and the dresses, the Western boots for the ladies as well, free alterations, and free gift wrapping for the holiday season. Nothing says Roll Tide or War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantstore.com. First, let me just say, I am an old guy. I said this on Cover Crimson in the postgame show on Saturday. I said this last night on After Dark. I said it in Monday Morning Live. I am an old guy, but I am all for dancing after the touchdowns. Never bothers me. Dancing after a sack never bothers me. Doing this never bothers me after a first down.
Okay.
I don't. None of that bothers me.
Right.
What I don't understand is the constant crap talking when you never led and you're Alabama playing Vandy, and when you haven't done something good to celebrate by yourself or with your teammates. I don't understand getting people. I mean, there were so many in the face from the defense who were getting drug across the field all day long. They were in the face of Vandy players all day long, headbutting or just getting up and talking to them after an incomplete pass or a completion, and then what Malachi did at the end. That's the part I don't understand. Again, I'm old, and you may say, Jim, you're just old. But I like all the other stuff. I like the dancing. I like anything celebrating after you've done something. It's when you haven't done something and you're getting into somebody else's face and you're behind the whole day. I didn't understand that, and that wasn't just at the end. That was all day long.
It was like a bunch
talking.
of Jermaine Burtons out there.
It really was. Boy, I had not thought of that, but you're right, it was.
Here's the thing, man. I love Kalen DeBoer, but I don't care. If that situation, you are running the clock out, you're out of timeouts, the game's over. Physically walk out there, get reprimanded by the SEC, grab him by his face mask and drag him off. He never plays again, never plays again.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is the video that you're just seeing here that he says he's playing. Substitution came in from Malachi, and
the immaturity of kicking a ball, throwing your mouthpiece, the selfishness of showing up your teammates, the insubordination of shooing off your coaching staff. I mean, this is like, and this is, to me, if you're an Alabama fan, the loss is amazing, but maybe this is the root of the problem.
Here's 18 coming to the game. Malachi looks at him and says, no, dude, get out. So 18 takes the captain's order and leaves, and there's Kane Womack all the way out to the 40 if you're listening to us on audio, telling him to come out of the game 3 times. He motions 3 times, he's denied, very biblical. And then Malachi walks to the end of the secondary there, and then he starts sliding into people. Game's over here, dude.
That's what I tell the officials, like, hey, we're not playing this snap. 13's coming off the field.
Yeah.
I know I'm out of timeouts.
Yeah.
Now, Kalen DeBoer is going to be asked about this.
Should be.
In the postgame today, in the news conference at 12 noon. Womack will be asked about it at 11:45 in the news conference. But in the postgame, here is Kalen DeBoer being asked about the reaction from 13 on the field at the end.
Yeah, he was much better when he got in the locker room. The guy pours everything into what he does, doesn't make it okay, and we want to, be first class in everything we do. And, there's a lot of guys that are really frustrated. So, I think the key is that, we turn that frustration into, positives moving forward and make sure we remember what we feel here tonight. And remember that tomorrow when we show up, and Tuesday and Wednesday, and all season long. And so Malachi, I'm 100% confident he will do that. He's, the frustration out there again comes from the work that he puts in, the belief he puts in. There's not a guy that, there's a couple guys that were critical from day one when I got here that put their foot down and believed in this place, and he's certainly one of them. And we are going to continue to believe in him, and he leaves it out on the football field, not just in every game, but every day when we're working out and practicing. He's very vocal. And we need him to continue to be that way.
He was better when he got in the locker. He couldn't be any worse. He's got torched the locker room.
Yeah.
Hey, and let me go back and make one point real quick, Dunaway. Okay. If Ryan Williams doesn't score against Georgia, if they blow a 28-point lead and they follow it up with the Vanderbilt loss,
oh my God!
I mean, is he like
he might already be fired?
Yeah, do they have pitchforks and torches?
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
Well, you've been here long enough. I was telling EG out in the lobby today. Sunday was the first day of Kalen DeBoer being the head coach of Alabama. It was all honeymoon.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Your first loss.
Yep.
It's like a 7-game series. Series doesn't start until somebody wins on somebody else's home floor.
That's right. Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer Sunday officially started getting a paycheck.
That's right.
As the Alabama head coach, because now he's got to deal with all the pressures of being the Alabama head coach. Listen, we can sit up here as three guys who didn't play the game and have reactions of the way we think it should be played. But Damian Harris won a national championship at Alabama. Damian Harris played for Nick Saban. Damian Harris understands what wearing the C, being a captain, means at Alabama. Last night, he's on the Until Saturday podcast from The Athletic. It's the college football podcast there. And Chris Vanini and company there talking to Damian Harris on what he saw with Malachi Moore at the end of the game and what it meant to the former players to see Malachi act like this. This is 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. But if you're an Alabama fan and you understand the difference between the locker room of yesteryear, not that long ago, and to what happened on Saturday, here's Damian Harris.
Number 13, Malachi Moore. Now, brother, I don't know you, but I'm not trying to disrespect you. But what you did last night on that football field was complete and utter bullshit. You are a two-time captain, somebody who has your hand and footprint at Denny Chimes. Well, how did you show up yesterday? The only thing I remember seeing from you is slamming the guy's head around unnecessarily, punching yourself, throwing your mouthpiece, kicking a foot in front, like not even in a way of like, okay, nobody's looking. Like, I'm bigger than the game. I'm bigger than the team. I'm bigger than this moment. Hey, everybody look at me. Look at how pissed off I am. Look at what I got to say about it. Let me pick up a ridiculous 15-yard penalty for literally no apparent reason. And you call yourself a two-time captain? I can tell y'all what would have happened in the days that I was there. We would have tried to rip the C off of his jersey. We would have lit him up. From every coach, every player, Reuben Foster, Minka Fitzpatrick, Deron Payne, Jalen Hurts, Jerry Jeudy, everybody would have been on this dude's head. Like, what? Like, we don't do that. What's up with that? If we go out there and we get beat, we're going to handle all of our issues internally. But no guy is bigger and above this program. So you don't get to act like that. But I'm going to tell y'all exactly why he feels like he can't act like that. Is you go and you look at what Kalen DeBoer said in his post-game press conference about Malachi Moore. Oh, well, he's one of our guys and he's one of our leaders. And yeah, we expect him to use this and only bring positivity for the rest of the season. Man, damn that. What's up with that? Nick Saban would have said that? No, that's bullshit. That don't help you win games. That does not help you control the talent and the level of guys that you've never coached before, guys that you've never had experience with at a program that you don't have. You don't know what it takes to win these kind of games. And you just come in here trying to be everybody's buddy. You try to be everybody's friend. Well, what does that get you? That gets you beat against Vandy on the road. That pisses me off because I got some hardware. It's because I was somebody that did it. I was somebody that lived it. I was
got two championship rings for those who are just listening.
Mm-hmm. 2 natties, 3 SEC championships. I lived it. I lived by the code. I played the game the right way. I had somebody there in Nick Saban who put me in a position to be accountable for my performance, good or bad, to handle myself with respect and with class. And we're just not seeing that. So Alabama, what's up?
Well said.
Yeah, can't say it any better than that, can you?
Yeah. Kalen DeBoer needs to take a look at that. You guys know I'm a huge DeBoer fan.
I do.
But in the offseason, we heard how different this regime was, and coaches with their feet on the table and the loud music, and it was night and day. And I said, that's all good. You can win multiple ways. I think we all said that. But the problem is when you don't win and what the optics look like coming out of that loss. Again, as Brown said, this wasn't flukish, and then you've got behavior on the field like you had from Malachi Moore. It is a combination for disaster.
I did not think we would be 5 games in when Saban players started calling out Kalen DeBoer. That blows me away that we're here that quick.
But how would Nick Saban have handled 13?
That's the problem, Lance. It never would have happened under Nick Saban.
It wouldn't have.
You think Malachi Moore
No.
would have done that when Nick Saban standing on that sideline?
No, zero chance.
But here's the whole thing. It really shouldn't matter if Nick Saban or Kalen DeBoer is standing on the sidelines. And maybe this is old school of me, and I know it is, and I'm an old man, so I'll own it. You're wearing the University of Alabama uniform. Do you know what comes with that? I mean, this is not some random-ass uniform you're wearing. This is the University of Alabama. This is the greatest college football program in the history of the game. This is NFL Hall of Famers and college football Hall of Famers and all pros that have come before you that have worn that uniform. There is an obligation that comes with wearing that uniform, and you would think of all people, Malachi Moore, who grew up in Trussville, Alabama, would understand that, and he clearly doesn't.
Dunaway, I don't know. What do you think is the bigger deal? The fact that they lost to Vanderbilt?
That's not the bigger deal.
I don't think it is.
No, the loss is the loss.
Yeah.
And in a 14 playoff, it would be bad. You still had a chance. In a 12-team playoff, everything's still in front of you. The loss is the loss. It's the perception, the image, and what potentially could happen down the road next week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 2 years, 3 years of the culture of the program if you get away from the championship culture you had under Nick Saban. Again, different ways to win. I say it again for the 5th time since the end of the game. I'm okay with the dancing and everything that goes with it after you've made a play. But all the bull crap stuff you do when you start poking your finger in somebody else's face, getting a penalty you shouldn't get on kicking the ball like we're in the backyard playing Nerf, that's the stuff that just doesn't resonate. I don't understand why you're doing that. That doesn't. You're not celebrating anything right there. You're just pointing out that you're getting your butt kicked.
Well, you see it early when he's doing that. You're like, damn, does this coaching staff have control of this situation? And internally, what's going on? And then when they try to sub for him, you really see what's going on.
See, that was the biggest issue to me.
100%.
That shows he doesn't respect his coaches.
That's 100%.
Yeah, let's just say that Saban was head coach. And they went, and Saban tried to pull him out of the game.
Oh, my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But there would be a chalk outline in First Bank Stadium.
Yeah. Now,
he would have evaporated a guy.
I don't want to do the rest of my career of saying the way Saban would have done it. Inevitably, it's going to happen. But forget Saban. If Aaron Rodgers, they were going to substitute for Aaron Rodgers and he waved off his coaches, we would be talking about that on a Monday. If he said, no, I'm staying in the game.
That's 100% would happen, by the way.
Oh, it would.
Yeah, but you're right.
But we'd be talking about that.
We would be like, Robert Saleh is cooked.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh may as well go in and quit because he is cooked as the Jets head coach.
Yeah, you're substituting for LeBron James, and LeBron looks over and says, no, I'm not coming out.
Right.
We'd be talking about that. If Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, if he was being substituted out, you'd go, Coach, why are you taking Michael Jordan out? But if Michael Jordan said, no, man, I'm staying out here, we'd be talking about that today.
Do you remember how big a deal it was when Ed Oliver got his coat taken from Major Applewhite?
Yeah.
Yes.
At Houston?
Yeah, at Houston.
Yeah, and that was like,
this ain't Alabama football.
We did like a
Houston.
segment or two in Birmingham, Alabama about that. Like, I don't think this is being talked about enough. I know there's so much coming out of the weekend and it's difficult. And I know guys like Trent Dilfer and Hugh Freeze and Josh Heupel are really thankful for these Alabama moments because it will get so deflected. Yeah. But I can't believe more national people aren't talking about this.
Yeah, because you go kick the football. Yeah, that's a selfish act and stupid and just stupid and embarrassing to that Alabama uniform. Yeah, that is. The bigger concern for the South Carolina game and the road trip to Tennessee and LSU and the Iron Bowl is the fact that you've got a player that is entitled enough to stand on that field and wave off his defensive coordinator when he's trying to sub him out so he doesn't continue to make an ass of himself. That blows me away.
So you ask yourself, what would a captain think of another captain doing that? Tyler Booker joins the show coming up in about 11 minutes. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemp Hill. They bring you best and worst of the weekend. You can throw those into the chat room as well. Best and worst of the weekend about hemp hill.
205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Give them a buzz. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And also by our friends at Ghost Energy. There's a lot of people that got ghosted this weekend. Alabama's #1 ranking. By the way, last #1 team to lose their #1 ranking to an unranked team, I believe, was Alabama at Texas A&M. But Alabama got ghosted this weekend. Auburn lost at Georgia. Maybe you can say, we'll get into this, but maybe Hugh Freeze got ghosted by Peyton Thorne again. According to Hugh, he didn't run the play that was called one time.
Yep.
And then UAB absolutely ghosted by Tulane, and we're about to talk a little bit about Trent Dilfer before we take our break and get to Tyler Booker. It's our friends at Ghost Energy, all the energy and hydration drinks that you get and all the wonderful flavors right there with Ghost Hydration and Ghost Energy. Wherever you buy your drinks on the way to work or on the way home, make sure you look for that Ghost label. It'll pump you up. Our friends with Ghost bringing you those who got ghosted this weekend. Skip over Auburn losing at Georgia. Georgia bouncing back for the win. We'll come back to that after Tyler Booker. But Trent Dilfer and UAB, they get beat 71-20. Trent Dilfer is now 5-12 in his career at UAB. 8 losses by 20 or more. Only Temple and Kent State has more 20-point losses in that time. Temple and Kent State.
Yeah, I would say Trent Dilfer has driven UAB football back to the Watson Brown, Neil Callaway days, but I don't know that it was this bad then, Lance.
Oh, I don't think it was.
I mean, that's what's crazy about this. I don't know. I mean, there were some dark days of Neil Callaway and Garrick McGee and late Watson Brown, but I don't know that it got this bad.
Before today, the last time UAB football lost 4 straight games was, well, it was last year under Trent Dilfer. But before that was 2013 under Garrick McGee.
Yeah.
And I have not seen Dilfer's comments. I hope they're a lot more humbled than they were last week.
You have to be when you give up 71.
71. My gosh.
Here we go. Trent Dilfer after the 71-20 home loss in front of a few fans down at Protective Stadium. Here's Trent.
But I do know I've been through a lot of storms. I've been booed out of stadiums and outbacks and other places that what they can't do is blame each other. If they need something to blame, they can blame me. You know, I apologize to the team for not getting them ready for that type of physical nature of football. And I'll say to the fans, like, you deserve more. City of Birmingham deserves more. If you're going to be angry, please be angry at me. Don't be angry at our kids. Our kids are giving us everything they have. And that's my job to make sure something like this never happens again.
Well, I got bad news for him. They're 127 out of 134 against the Rush, and guess who they play next?
They got Army, and they're getting 24 points. That is just a massive number. I'll give Trent a little credit. A lot more humbled in that situation.
Yeah. By the way, Lance, they're getting 21 points from a team that's
24, I think.
24, whatever it is, from a team that's going to limit possessions. That's like I don't know how to do this, Lance, but I would say Army giving you 24 would be the equivalent of like somebody else giving you 36.
Yeah, like when
Josh Heupel giving you 40.
Yeah, something like that.
Dick Bennett was coaching Wisconsin, when they were 10-point underdogs, they were a 20-point underdog.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, so this is night and day. And look, I don't think it gets any better for UAB. When you start to look at the schedule, they've got a lot of losses coming up. I mean, do you guys just assume that this is going to be one of those mutual decisions where, like, okay, wasn't a good fit?
I don't know, because it's dumb to walk away from the check. You got to make them fire you. But a mutual decision might be, we'll give you this to leave.
If I'm miserable and want to leave, I could reach out to my bosses and say, listen, you owe me this much money. If you fire me, you're not happy with me. We can sit here and ride this out, or we can find a middle ground here. That could happen if it gets to that point. By the way, Army, they were perfect throwing the football this past week. 5 of 5 in their win over Tulsa. So 5 passes, 5 completions, all over 28 yards. So they'll suck you in just to throw it right over your head.
Oh, hey, Navy and Army are both slinging it around the yard right now. Both really good teams, too. Can't wait for that game. You think about Navy against UAB, threw it 11 times. which that's kind of unheard of. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go 1-11, and I'm not just saying that. When you look at the schedule, that is a distinct possibility.
Yeah, I mean, Rice is the lone remaining game. You're like, I think they could probably win that game.
Yeah. And I mean, they could beat UConn. They could beat Tulsa at home.
Yeah.
But, I think 3-9 is kind of the ceiling right now, but the floor is definitely 1-11.
All right. One more thing to get to before we take a break and get to Tyler Booker. Tell us about our friends at Gutter Cap. The leaves are falling. Let C-Stu clean those gutters out one more time.
205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's a dirty, dangerous job. Got to see C-Stu over the weekend. Call him. He will come out, give you an absolutely free estimate. 45% off the retail price right now. 205-823-2212. Gutter Cap patented aluminum cover system fits over most existing gutters. It will allow only water inside of the gutter. All the other debris will be shut out. You'll never have to clean those dirty, dangerous gutters again. Cap it, don't snap it. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
Scott's got multiple angles, I believe, of the goalpost walking down Broadway in Nashville and being thrown into the Cumberland River. All you have to know is the initial fine for Vanderbilt rushing a field and tearing down goalpost is $100,000, and it goes up from there. Arkansas got $250,000 because they beat Texas a few years ago.
It's cumulative, yeah.
Vandy, only $100,000. Their first time to celebrate, first time beating Alabama since 1984, first time since the 60s beating them at home. They finally wiggled that thing out of that small stadium, and then they're marching it down Broadway. 3 miles, if you go and, I don't want to sound like Joe Tess here, but if you go and Google Map it, it's
don't.
3 miles.
3 miles!
3 miles. And hats off eventually to the Nashville Police Department helping out, getting this huge crowd. More people marching than actually were in the student section. People just, some guys getting in the tape saying, I don't even go here.
Oh, yeah.
Just jumping in.
Yeah, there's no way everybody in that group was at the game.
And then eventually they plant it at the bottom of the Cumberland, which if you're scoring since 2022, the state of Tennessee should fine Alabama football for hurting the environment in Tennessee. That's now 2 metal goalposts in the bottom of Tennessee rivers there. Clean up your waterways, Tennessee.
Oh, they had to do this. So Vandy 0-60 against top 5 teams before this. The last 3 touchdown plus favorite as the number 1 team to lose. 2008, Mark Sanchez and USC going to Corvallis. Remember that Thursday night game?
I do remember that Thursday night game. Foggy, wasn't it?
Foggy,
yeah.
Aaron Andrews was on the sideline.
Oh, wow.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate to see Alabama lose, but that's an iconic scene.
No doubt.
That you'll see forever. And as Courtney and others point out on Twitter at Next Round Live, when they stop tearing down the goalposts and rushing the field when Alabama loses, that's when I'll be worried. When we come back, we'll talk to Tyler Booker on the show that's brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. This is The Next Round.
Call The Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
We talk about all the biggest games every Monday at 10:30 with Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt. Presented by MyBookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND. If it is meaningful at all in college football, we cover it Mondays with Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag on the Next Round.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Here we go on the next round as we continue on. The most important show in America is the one we're doing right here now because Tyler Booker's about to be on it, and we're going to get reaction from him after what happened in Nashville, but more importantly about moving forward. Keep in mind for Alabama, back home this weekend, in need of a home game, South Carolina coming to town to take on the Crimson Tide early morning game.
All right, Tyler Booker is with us. One of the captains of Alabama football joins us each week, courtesy of the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Welcome in, Book. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks a lot. It obviously did not go as you guys planned in Nashville. Perhaps this is too broad of a question, but what went wrong against Vanderbilt?
To be honest, they just made more plays than we did. We knew that this was a different Vanderbilt team. We knew they were a good team, that they weren't the same Vanderbilt teams of the past. But regardless of who we're playing, we have to play Alabama football. We have to play up to our standard. And it's very clear and easy to say that we didn't. We had too many penalties. We didn't take advantage of all of our opportunities. And just as a team as a whole, we just have to perform better. We just can't go out and expect to win. We have to take the victory.
Go back to halftime in Nashville because, I'm sitting on my couch and I'm like, okay, this team is down 23-14, but they have so much talent. We saw them up 28-0 against Georgia less than a week before. I felt like you guys would be able to regroup, come out, and just play dominant football. What was the message at halftime and kind of what was just the body language and the communication and just was there energy? What was going on at halftime as much as you can share?
The energy was there. The energy was right. And something that we preach throughout the week and that we especially preach on game day is keep playing and the game will come back to you. So we just had to focus on going 1-0, winning our individual battles. Each man winning their own individual battles, and the game will come back to us. Just so happens that they ended up making more plays than we did at the end of the day. I mean, it's the SEC any given Saturday.
Listen, you know me, I don't like to ask tough questions. I'm an entertainer, not a journalist. But you wear that C. You're a captain, man. At the end, the other guy with a C on his jersey, Malachi's out there, very emotional at the end of the game. Did you have a conversation with him in the last 48 hours?
Yes, I have, man. Malachi, he's so prideful about the University of Alabama. Like, I've learned so much about being an Alabama football player from Malachi, and it means so much to him. So, yeah, he had an emotional moment at the end of the game, but when he got into the locker room, he was the leader that he needed to be. And just having a conversation with him, we just talked about how bad the both of us win, because Malachi has won a national championship, but as a freshman, he wants to go out the right way, just as I do, and just as everybody else on the team does. So we all understand where his frustration was coming from.
How do you focus that frustration? I mean, you can't do what he did, obviously. That goes without saying, and I'm hoping he's aware of that, and I'm sure he's been made aware of that, if not. How do you, as a player, Book, focus your frustration like that, other than going and kicking the football and waving off your coach and stuff like that?
Well, Malachi, he spoke to the team. We all had a conversation with Malachi, and we all understand where he's coming from. Like, he's a competitor, and anybody who has been in a situation like that, anybody who has been here for their 5th year, they would feel the same way. They would feel the same way now. Did he go about the right way? No, but we all appreciate we all appreciate how much Malachi cares. So I just want to put that out there first and foremost, and that's my teammate, and I'm always going to have his back. But the way that I handle it, I always try to, the first thing that I think about, like when I was on the sideline during that moment, I was like, okay, like what could I have done better, and how can I prevent this from happening in the future? But I learned that from Malachi. So like Malachi is one of the leaders on this team. We still trust, believe, and love him. So we're very excited to see how he responds this week. But we're all behind Malachi. We all have his back.
Look, we're not doubting you at all, and I know these are difficult questions, especially when you're talking about teammates. And look, we know your love and your pride for the University of Alabama. But when Kane Womack tried to get him out of the game, he basically shoot him off. And whoever 18 was that came in, he told him, nope, I'm not subbing out, I'm not coming out. I mean, do you think there's the same level of respect for this coaching staff as there was last year for that coaching staff?
There's definitely the same level of respect. And for whatever happened on the field during that, I didn't see it. I wasn't clued into what was going on then. I was talking to my coach, so I didn't even see that go down. But I know for a fact there's the same level of respect for this coaching staff as there was for the last one as well. Like we have a tremendous amount of respect for this coaching staff, and like I said before, and I'll keep saying, we're tremendous competitors. Malachi is a tremendous competitor. He loves to compete. He hates to lose. We all hate losing, and that's why I'm so excited to go into this South Carolina week to see how much we've grown from this game, and I'm so excited for the rest of the season because there's so much football left to play to grow and improve off of this game. Like this game. This game is going to make us into who we are as a team. This game is going to show who Alabama is.
Listen, I'm not a high IQ guy. 17 minutes of having the football and you score 35 points. Cheap math from Alabaster, Alabama. That's more than 2 points a minute. You guys on the offense were still clicking, which is a positive sign. Have you ever played a game where you sat on the bench as much as you sat on the bench for 17 minutes while the other team had it for that 42 minutes?
I don't think I've ever played in a game like that, but it's SEC football. It's any given Saturday. You never know how the game can go. So we just have to make sure we take advantage of all of our opportunities. And I believe during the breakdown yesterday, we had 9 possessions and we scored on 5 of them, and that's just not good enough for us. We expect to score every time we touch the ball, so we have to be better as an offense as well.
Tyler Booker is with us. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I assume it was a tough film session for everyone involved in the team. And I'm not saying that when you looked on film you saw effort issues, but I do want to ask, if there are effort issues, as a player, does that jump off the film to you if you see one of your teammates not giving enough effort?
Yeah, it would jump off the film if I seen it, but I didn't see it at all. I saw everybody fighting until the end. Like it literally took it to a penalty in the last, like one of the last minute first downs for the game to really be over. But before then, we were fighting until the end, and that's one thing that nobody could say about this team is that we didn't fight, and we're not a team full of fighters. Like even from last year, 4th and 31, us having 2 freshmen make 2 huge plays last week against Georgia, and even up until this week, we are going to fight. That's something that you'll never be able to say about this team, that we're not a team full of fighters. We've been fighting since whatever January 11th, I think, when Coach Saban retired, January 8th, whatever the exact date is. That's how long we've been fighting. So we're a team full of fighters. So you'll never be able to turn on the film and be like, okay, this guy's not giving effort. Because if that guy's not giving the right effort, he just won't be on the field. Because if you're going to be one of those 11 on the field wearing that script out on your chest, you're going to fight for the whole game. That's the standard. That's what's expected of you every week. We're going to go prove that this weekend.
You know, this time last week, you guys were the number one team in the nation. You were coming off of putting college football on high alert, basically beating Georgia down in that first half, en route to winning the game. And now you lose to an unranked team, a team that was 0-60 all-time against top 5 teams. Where is the overall confidence, do you believe, of this team going into South Carolina now?
We're super confident, and you got to give credit to Vanderbilt. We're in the SEC. It's any given Saturday in college football, any given Saturday, especially in the SEC. They're a good team. They've taken other top 10 teams to overtime, so we just have to understand that as well. But we're super confident. You know, everything. We're the same. We're the same team that, like you guys said, beat Georgia and put the whole college football world on notice. The same people that played in that Georgia game were the same people playing in that Vanderbilt game. We just have to execute. Those same people just have to execute better. That's it at the end of the day. So our confidence from last Monday is the same this Monday. We're just excited to get better. We're excited to have the opportunity to get better through this week.
Is there anything that feels like last year after Texas where you guys got on a run? I mean, you lost to Texas. I mean, different brands, obviously, but there was a loss, and you said you guys are a bunch of fighters. Does this sort of feel like the Monday after the Texas loss, and you feel like there's a good fight left in you?
I feel like it feels better than the Monday after the Texas loss, and I know that was a year ago, and I don't like to compare this year to last year to this year, but I feel like just the energy and the excitement, the readiness and the urge to get back to work is greater than it was last year, and that's why I'm so excited for practice tomorrow. Everybody's excited for practice tomorrow. If we asked Coach DeBoer to practice today, we would practice today if he would allow us. But we're so eager to honestly get that bad taste of a loss out of our mouth, and that's the hard thing about football compared to other sports. Basketball, you play every other day. You play back-to-back days some days. Baseball, you play 3 days in a row. So if you lose a game, you'll be able to win quick. We have to sit with this feeling of an L for a week, and we have to work hard to get that taste out of our mouth this Saturday.
CoverCrimson.com. It is a site where you can go get all Alabama great shows, message board there. You can join for $1 for the first month at CoverCrimson.com. Book, you've said that a lot. You've said, we're pissed off. We're tired of losing. We're not tired of losing. You've only lost one game. This loss hurts. Can't wait to get away to practice today if we could. What will that look like on Saturday? So if Alabama fans show up to that game or they dial it up on TV 11 o'clock, how do you channel that frustration into Saturday? What would a fan expect to see? To say, okay, I heard Tyler say that Monday, and he was absolutely right.
You'll see Alabama football being played. Simple as that. And those who watch SEC, watch Alabama football, you're going to see relentless effort. You're going to see guys finishing plays. You're going to see guys going above and beyond. You're going to see guys playing their best game. You're going to see guys win their one-on-one match. And that's what playing Alabama football is all about.
All right. Book, thank you. We appreciate you coming on. Were you dreading this? Did you not want to do this today?
No, I always love talking to you guys.
Long season, my friend.
It is. All right, Book.
It is a long season.
Yeah, it is. Have a good week. Good week, buddy. We appreciate the time.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right, buddy. Take care. That is Tyler Booker with us, the Alabama offensive lineman and team captain. He was on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Again, don't forget, CoverCrimson.com. Go sign up today. On fire over there on their shows with Mick and Clint and Stacy and the guys. All right there at CoverCrimson.com. Join for $1, CoverCrimson.com.
All right, and also by our friends at Inverness Country Club, a wonderful place. It will be at, I believe, next week.
Yep, next, I think it's Tuesday night, the 15th. I think that's right. We'll give you guys more information on that. Still putting a couple of little things together, but your opportunity to come out, kind of an open house. We've got a special event going on at the Inverness Country Club. At Inverness, they've got memberships that fit everyone, from the social to the golf. They're currently expanding that driving range. Inverness Country Club, great place to meet others in the community. Maybe you've relocated or retired. Inverness is a great place to work. Childcare, also a big plus. Dinner with friends and knowing your kid is safe on site, massive plus. Maybe work from home. What about working for the club while they watch your kid? Did you know that you don't have to be a member in order to hold an event at Inverness? Inverness can hold anywhere from golf tournaments to corporate meetings to wedding receptions, anything in between. Take a tour of this unbelievable club. Call Aaron today, 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
And by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Listen, I started Way to Wellness because of my cholesterol and my blood pressure. They've helped tremendously with that. They can help you jumpstart your weight loss or jumpstart a new career. Right now, they're looking for new dietitians and folks who are just looking maybe to change over to a better job, a better career, a great place to work. That's what Leslie and her board-certified team offers at Way to Wellness. You can get more career opportunities by going to their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com, and also jumpstart that weight loss with a personally designed, everyone different weight loss plan. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is absolutely free. It's Way to Wellness, and the website again, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Some people say talking more about 13 and not about the defensive scheme over there. I promise you, and some of you saying talking so much about Alabama, not giving Vandy their credit. Start with the post-game show at Cover Crimson right after the game on Saturday. Go into After Dark last night, Monday Morning Live. First 11 minutes was nothing but about positive Vanderbilt stuff this morning. And then we talked about, I asked Luganville. I asked him, I said, is there a schematic problem with Kane Womack's defense? Is there a schematic problem that prevents them from stopping a power run game that will come back and haunt Alabama in the future? He says it's too early to say that, doesn't think that's the case. But am I wrong in remembering Roman Harper on the show in the summer saying that the 3-3 5 form was going to have a problem with run game the run game?
Yeah, he said it's gonna look different in the run game most. Like there are going to be runs where a guy goes 4, 5, 6 yards before there's any sort of contact. I will just say I forgot to forward you all the text. Harp was breaking down Alabama film last night and was live texting me during it, and was not a pretty sight apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, give me a synopsis though. Is he? Because I try to remember when it was. It was either before SEC Media Days or afterwards, or when he was on the set, or all 3 times, where I think we asked him about the new way they were going to play defense, the new scheme, and he did not seem to be a fan of it.
I think to really dumb it down to my level, I think he described it as this is going to be the ultimate bend but don't break defense. Right. That's just dumbing it down.
I'm not Vanderbilt not included in this, but I think a lot of Alabama fans, and I said it early, they might have to win games 40-35, not lose games 40-35, and it's what they had to do against Georgia ultimately. But the look of this defense over the last 6 quarters has not been good.
I do remember you saying that in the summertime several times, and I was prepared. I was prepared for that going into the season.
As long as you're winning,
but it doesn't feel as bad when you win.
But it's the same defensive players and defensive coordinator that in the first half had Carson Beck completely confused. Carson Beck didn't know who to throw it to.
By the way, watching Georgia again this weekend, now obviously that game got put on a side TV quickly, but I don't know how good they are. And, I know a book kept coming back to, it's any given Saturday in the SEC, which is the old in the NFL, which is true. I think maybe we're getting to that point. I never thought we would say that, but when Vanderbilt can beat Alabama and you've got 5 unranked knocking off ranked teams, I can't even figure this out. Like looking forward on Alabama's schedule, I would say there's not another game they can lose, but hell, I guess they can lose every one of them.
Every one of them, starting with South Carolina, if it's like that. Just Derek's emailed this morning because it's, you brought up Georgia in the last 2 quarters. I just rewatched the first half and had to stop and then watch the third quarter this afternoon. This is from yesterday in our email box. The worst thing I saw was Bama only had 8 in the box twice in a non-goal line situation. And only on 5 or 6 times did they have 7 in the box. To me, the defense was not put in position to win. The front was outnumbered 80% of the time as I did the math. They were outnumbered 80% of the time, and no adjustments appeared to be made. Success in the first half against Georgia because Womack was being aggressive, and then in the second half went back to not being aggressive on their heels. That was Derek's opinion in the chat room as he broke it down.
Did you look at Alabama Saturday and think they weren't being aggressive on defense?
It felt like the defensive linemen were very concerned about staying in their run lanes, their run gaps, to prevent runs up the middle, and it did look like they were not being as aggressive.
Pavia, and this is hard to believe because he looks like a really good quarterback in slow motion, or a better quarterback in slow motion. But, I don't think they ever figured him out. They really didn't know what he was about to do. And that's kind of scary. We go back to Nick Saban when he would have one of these losses. It was like, Calzada, it was Garcia. These guys had their all-time career games. That's the way Pavia played on Saturday, and now he owns the state of Alabama, going back to what he did at Jordan-Hare last year. I'll tell you, Jerry Kill's worth
whatever you pay him.
Yeah, 7 figures.
I don't know what Vandy's paying.
Bring him
to
in.
Stand on the sidelines with no headset on sometimes.
I mean, that team is night and day where they were last year. Night and day.
And I'll go back to what you said. This is, and I am going to give the ultimate disclaimer here. This is no excuse for Alabama losing to Vanderbilt. Not an excuse at all. All right, so understand, this is not excusing an Alabama loss to Vanderbilt. I can't say that strongly enough.
Yeah.
But I think this is, to Lance's point, indicative of what you're about to see in all in college football. Like, just see how much the transfer portal changed Vanderbilt. They go get Diego Pavia, who comes with Jerry Kill.
Yeah.
And then Stowers, don't overlook that guy.
No.
The Alabama had
the
no
number
answer.
2 quarterbaak who became the tight end.
That's right.
Yeah.
Alabama had no answer for that guy. He owned Alabama.
And the offensive coordinator is also from New Mexico State.
Yeah. And this
and he called a hell of a game.
Oh, he was 1 step ahead of Alabama, or 2 steps ahead of Alabama all day long.
Okay, can I just pause right here?
Sure.
You just give me 4 New Mexico State pieces.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, and you're telling me 4 New Mexico State pieces are better than any pieces in Tuscaloosa? I don't buy it.
No, I'm not saying they're better than any pieces in Tuscaloosa, but I'm saying they're better than what Vanderbilt has had over the last few years. And that's my point, though, real quick, Lance, is that I think you're going to see, like, I don't know if people enjoy this about the NFL or not, but you turn on the NFL any given Sunday, it won't blow you away that the worst team in the league is beating one of the best teams in the league. You're not blown away by that. And I think you better get used to that in college football moving forward. Like, nobody in the NFL is aiming for undefeated. They're aiming for like 11 or 12 wins and getting in the playoffs. And that's what college football is about to become.
Yeah, I mean, but, and this is a bigger picture, but this is why I'd be so frustrated if I'm like an Auburn fan. You're in year 2, and how quickly you can change a roster. And what Vanderbilt did from 1 year to the second year.
Oh, this Vandy taking 4 pieces.
How did they lose to Georgia State, though?
They took 4 pieces from New Mexico State, and they came in and they just beat the number 1 team in the country.
That's right.
They lost to Georgia State because they probably weren't motivated, much like Alabama was motivated going into the game.
They slopped around and trailed that whole game. It was a road game in Atlanta.
Yep.
And they score late. And Brandon Marcello talks about this in the middle 8 earlier today. He's like, go back and watch it. The Georgia State quarterback makes one of the most incredible throws you'll ever see to win the game. And unfortunately for Vandy, because you got to steal a game like Alabama to get bowl eligible at Vandy, and that one might end up there's still a path to bowl eligibility for them, but that one might end up costing them a bowl game, which would be a terrible way to lose a bowl game. You beat Alabama, but you can't beat Georgia State. Look, I mean, Clark Lee did a tremendous job, but there's not a scenario where you should be Alabama losing on the road to Vanderbilt. That was a home game for you. You had 75% of the fans.
If you start doing transitive wins, like anybody can beat anybody literally in college football right now.
I kind of.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this was impossible. There's a reason Vanderbilt was 0-60 against top 5 teams.
Yeah,
like something weird is going on in college football.
Well,
and I'm not making excuses because I don't think Alabama was prepared. But, it wasn't just Alabama. It was Tennessee. Tennessee and Arkansas looked pretty equivalent Saturday night.
They sure did.
They both looked offensively challenged, but they looked equivalent.
We'll pay that its full due as well, because at one point I was wrong. I thought Tennessee was the best team in the country.
I don't know who is.
And they're not right now.
Do you know who is?
Currently Texas is. We'll run through the new AP poll. Maybe they shouldn't have got bumped out. Hydra Live, getting you revived and ready to go for another week of college football. Don't forget NFL tonight. Got a great one. Saints and Chiefs in a huge game for the Saints as they can take advantage of some losses in the NFC South. That's on Monday Night Football tonight, and more baseball.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof, and now weight loss therapy. If you're tired of feeling stuck in your weight loss goals, discover a personalized approach that works with HydroLife Therapy's weight loss therapy. HydroLife combines hydration therapy with targeted weight loss treatments. They provide a comprehensive approach to weight management. You can book your appointment online. Go to hydrolifetherapy.com. Walk-ins are welcome as well. Make sure you mention the next round. 20% off all the great services. If you can't get to HydroLife, guess what? They can send a nurse to your home or business. We do it up here all the time with our man Daniel Jones. Book the appointment today, hydrolifetherapy.com. 2 locations in Birmingham, 1 in Tuscaloosa. They're open daily, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Also ask about the memberships as well.
All right. So it's got 2007 vibes early on, right? Because in 2007, 4 times near the end from October on, 4 times the number 1 team lost to an unranked team. And there were times when the number 1 team were losing and number 2 team losing every weekend to ranked teams, but 4 times number 1 loss to unranked teams in 2007. Now, this is the first, if I'm right about this, follow me here. It's the first time the number 1 team has lost this year. We've had some changeover because of the way teams have looked. Texas at Michigan, Texas jumps to number 1. Then Alabama beating Georgia, Alabama jumps to number 1. But now a number 1 team has lost. And so Texas is back in that slot now with 52 of the first place votes. By the way, Red River this weekend with number 18 Oklahoma.
I'd be scared to death.
Texas is a major favorite in that one, but at least they're a ranked team. And Ohio State and Oregon this week. Brownie will give us some MyBookie numbers in just a second. But you remember how chaotic that 2007 season was. That was when LSU was a 2-loss national champion.
Yeah, look, it's when South Florida got up to number 2. I think Rutgers, maybe the year before, got up to number 2. But, yeah, that was an insane year. And this does kind of, at least early October, look like it could possibly be that year. I mean, the good news for these teams, when you lose to Vanderbilt, you know what? You went out. It doesn't matter. You might even get one more loss.
Yeah.
Like, how magnified does the Vanderbilt loss become? Like, you definitely get in with 1 loss, but if you have a second loss, people point to that, hey, you lost to Vanderbilt, and you have 2 losses.
If we were going to put Notre Dame in after a loss to Northern Illinois, if they won out, this is no worse than that.
Yeah, there's just something about look, in Vanderbilt, that's a solid team. I think they're going to get everybody's attention. This year, it seems like a team that plays for a full 60 minutes. But Vanderbilt, there's a connotation that comes with Vanderbilt.
Yep.
And that's just one of those teams you can't lose to.
Yeah, because it's like Tennessee's road loss at Arkansas doesn't look as bad as Alabama's road loss at Vanderbilt.
No.
But why do you say that?
No, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, but you agree that there's that perception.
I mean, I've seen
all
Arkansas play really good football. I've just never seen it from Vanderbilt.
And that's all about name brand. Like if Vanderbilt and Arkansas played today at Jerry World, who would you pick?
Vanderbilt, Arkansas?
Yeah.
I'd play Arkansas,
but you wouldn't feel great about it. I mean,
yeah.
what's the point spread on a neutral site? That's probably about a pick 'em,
Well,
right?
that's like Vanderbilt's in Kentucky this week.
And they're a 2-touchdown underdog.
Yeah.
2-touchdown underdog,
At
which
Kentucky.
tells you Kentucky's going to kick their butt,
Kentucky
right?
will kick their butt, yeah.
But I guarantee you, after watching it happen to Alabama, Mark Stoops is probably a little bit nervous about that defense. I mean, they put you in tough situations. Vandy does.
All right, here's what's still to come on the show. When we come back, we'll continue talking about Alabama. For the first time today, we'll jump into Auburn's loss to Georgia, bye week for the Auburn Tigers this week. And for the first time today, we'll fully jump into Arkansas upsetting Tennessee as 5 of the top 11 teams, almost 6 of the top 11. We'll talk about Miami, too. Lost on the same day for the first time since 2016. 5 of the top 11 losing on the same day for the first time since 2016. Before Brownie gives us the updated numbers from MyBookie, LT, tell us about our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
So, picked up a pan of brisket on Saturday. Did brisket sliders from the New York Butcher Shop. Had brisket left over. Maddie, we had some people in town. Maddie did brisket quesadillas last night.
Oh, that sounds better than the Saturday.
No, it was. Like
Yeah.
the Saturday was incredible because the baked beans, and I'll stick by this, I think the baked beans are his best side. He's got some incredible sides of goat cheese mashed potatoes. But the sliders of the baked beans, fantastic. But then it got topped last night with the quesadillas. They were absolutely incredible. But these are just, like, it's very obvious you can go get steaks and burgers because we did the smash burgers from there on Friday night. So 3 consecutive nights, and I might eat more brisket tonight. But you can also get really creative. And Jim's one of those guys. He was the guy that suggested the brisket. Why don't you guys just get a pan of brisket and you can do this and that? It's exactly what we did.
Do you have to pre-order that, or is it waiting on it? How does it work?
Yeah, pre-order.
Okay.
Pre-order. Yeah, with the amount we got. But look, man, just a great place to go. 2 locations, the original in Cava Heights. I'm pointing to that one. The newest location, Highway 119. Stop in, see Jim, the fine folks. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Okay, before you give me the numbers, Maggie made a chopped, it was off TikTok, a chopped Italian meat sandwich with all those prosciutto and pepperonis and Italian hams and stuff and onions. I'll never eat the sandwich again because I ate it at the start of the Alabama game and they lost, so I told her to throw the recipe away. But I cannot tell you, as good as that was, it was a 4-brush, 4-mouthwash afternoon for me after that. It had all the kick from the peppers and the onions and the seasoning you can imagine, but it was one of those that would not go away. I was burping that one all.
God, that sounds awful.
So was it good?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay.
I just can't eat it again because
Alabama lost.
superstitious, but also it wasn't helped by my stomach was churning with all of that stuff in there.
Look at that. That looks
Look at that
fantastic. That's
sandwich.
it.
Yeah.
That's not a stock photo from Scott.
That is the sandwich.
That looks fantastic. Great job,
It
Maggie.
was delicious.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Unfortunately, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, she came rolling in and she goes, "Here's your lunch today. Let me know what Jen made brown."
You and Maggie are a lot alike.
She's got a little.
Like, I don't really want to make this because I love you.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to throw in my face again that Jen Brown is making stuff for Ryan Brown, and I want my stuff to be better than Jen Brown's stuff.
She just wants it to be in the same league. She wants to be in the conference.
Okay.
She doesn't want to be group of 5.
Right. Hey, listen, mybookie.ag, Ohio State, Oregon, the big game. Ohio State a 4-point favorite, and that one, Alabama, a 21.5-point favorite. At home over South Carolina, who was, I mentioned that Vanderbilt, 13.5-point underdog. On the road at Kentucky. You can play all those games. You play Monday Night Football right there at mybookie.ag. Go to mybookie.ag. When you make your initial deposit, use code NEXTROUND, and they'll double what you put in there. That is free money you can play with. Play with it right away. Win once with it. It's yours and yours forever. Not one of those places where you got to win with that bonus money like 6, 7, 8 times for it to become yours. It's yours right away at mybookie.ag when you use code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, You're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We roll on the next round. It's a big football reaction Monday, which means we will not get to a ton of other stuff. That includes Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning the Yellowwood 500. Thanks so much to our folks at Talladega. We loved counting down for the last month and a half to another great race, great crowd, great finish. 0.06 seconds for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to win. It included, right before the end of the race, the biggest crash in NASCAR racing history, involving more cars than any other crash in NASCAR history. 28 cars involved in that crash, opening the door for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to win the Yellowwood 500. Also, if you are paying attention to baseball, and now's the time to do that, you can get back on it this week until college football returns. We got 2 games today. Detroit at Cleveland at 3 o'clock on TBS. Cleveland leads the series 1-0. Kansas City at Yankee Stadium. Yankees lead the series 1-0, back-to-back starting at 3 on TBS. Philadelphia walked off the Mets yesterday to even that series, and San Diego's bats and Hugh Darvish beat the Dodgers yesterday to even that series. So 1-1 in the National League and the American League play today. We'll see if we can get even series in that one. That update brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. They bring you Lance's Lock every day, a chance you're playing a little baseball and Monday Night Football today.
Yeah, a great weekend. 10-5 Saturday, by the way. Slated. Jump on board, win with us now. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services, 205-229-2090. Trusted name, Birmingham's trusted since 1954. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues, they're ready to serve your home or business right now. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
We'll get to our 4 downs later in this segment coming up. But right now, let's talk about some other games other than, well, first let's touch back on Bama and Vandy real quick. I just want to read you some stuff that proves to you that it wasn't just, wasn't fluke, as we've said all weekend long. 9 more first downs for Vandy, more rushing yards for Vandy, most of those, by the way, coming between the hash marks. 12 of 18 on 3rd down, an often repeated stat. 1 of 1 on 4th down. 42 minutes of and change of controlling the play. And then Luganville gave me this one. 17 plays for Vandy that resulted in 4 or more yards after contact.
That's a problem.
Yeah, so Alabama making contact with a defender and Vandy either pushing it or breaking a tackle for 4 or more yards 17 times in the game.
Look, somebody asked me after Wisconsin, and maybe it was on Bama and Bourbon, I don't remember, but do you see any differences? Coming off the 42-10 win, Alabama's undefeated. And I was like, I will say the defense doesn't tackle as well. And I don't think it was a problem because you won the game by 32, but it was a problem on Saturday.
It was. And sometimes the guy who makes the initial contact makes the tackle. But how many times, see if you remember these images, how many times did you see on 3rd down the Vandy receiver catch a ball 2 yards short of the stick and either break a tackle or push forward to just barely get the first down by dragging the Alabama defender with him?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it happened all day. I can't tell you exactly how many times it happened, but it felt like every time. What?
That's the image I have in my head of this game. I don't know what player it was, but it's the top of the television screen. third down, needing a stop like he did all day, him catching it 2 yards short, and then turning and fighting and getting the first down like it happened all day.
It felt like every time Vandy needed, it was 3rd and 8, they got 12.
That's
every
crazy.
single time. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. And look, I know Georgia was phenomenal on 4th down against Alabama, but on 3rd down, Georgia was like 3 of 18. How you can go from 3 of 18 against Georgia on 3rd down to 12 of 18 against Vandy blows my mind.
Alabama was number 1 in the country in 3rd down efficiency on defense.
I know, in large part because of what they did against Georgia.
Yeah.
And Vandy just owned 3rd down. There is so much from this game that I'll never be able to compute. But it gets said a lot like, hey, Bama offense, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Did you come out of that feeling good about Alabama's offense, too? I didn't either.
No.
I'm a little surprised at that reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 drives were spot on. Another great play from Ryan Williams. The interception.
I thought the play call at the goal line or the throwback to Ryan Williams could have been a disaster.
Oh, the big
reverse.
long, yeah.
The 4th down and 1
Yeah,
reverse.
like I've got Jalen Milroe in there that I really believe can pick up that one 9 times out of 10 at least.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he would have gotten a tackle for loss 6-7 yards behind?
Oh, yeah.
So
you never hear the end of that one.
So I guess I'm assuming that if you flash back to the Rose Bowl last year, if Nick Sheridan was coaching this team, it was the OC.
That's what he would have done?
That would have been the call instead of the Jalen Milroe read.
Ryan Williams played at Saraland, so you got to give it to somebody else. he was only 16 then.
He was only
Jim.
16 then. Hey, give me cut 5 because we'll never our state we'll have more Diego Pavia games because we're an SEC show. But Diego will never play a team. Well, wait, he has Auburn coming up again.
Absolutely, and Jordan here.
So he's not done.
No.
He's not done yet. So we still have one more game with teams from our state with Diego Pavia. But this guy's a showman. And the first time I thought possibly they were going to pull the upset was in the first half when the great Tom Hart said, you know, he wears number 2 because of his idol, Johnny Manziel. And he's been looking forward to this game since Johnny Manziel because he loved watching that game. He fell in love with Johnny Manziel when he saw him beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa in 2012. Here's Diego Pavia afterwards.
I love Vandy. It's what I came here for. I came here to win. Big football games. Came here to, our ultimate goal is to go to the college football playoff. And so we want a chance at the national championship, just how everyone else does. This is just a step in the way, and we just got to keep getting better. There's still little mistakes out there that we got to clean up. But, any given Saturday, anything's possible.
Wow, this is becoming just a motto for everyone. Any given Saturday. It used to literally be just any given Sunday. Now, I respect everything this kid does, but he is smoking crank if he thinks Vanderbilt's got any chance at ever winning any kind of championship.
Crank.
Well, they're right. Technically, mathematically, are they a 2-loss team right now?
They lost to
only one loss in conference, right?
They lost to Missouri and Georgia State.
Yeah. So to your point, conference losses, they still control their own destiny.
Yeah, I mean, if it's them and Bama sitting there with one loss,
that's right. Who's got the tiebreak?
Yeah, but also the 2 losses. So technically they have the best win of the season so far.
Oh yeah, they beat number 1.
They beat number 1. So I mean, he's not mathematically wrong there.
They've become a fun watch, though. I will say that. Like, when I would see a Vanderbilt-Kentucky game back in the past, I didn't want to watch it.
Not at all.
I am intrigued now.
I am too. It'll be a fast game, limited possessions.
Them in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a 2-hour game.
Yeah.
I mean, those teams do not come off the field. They don't stop the clock. They don't throw the ball. I mean, crap, Alabama couldn't force Diego Pavia to throw incompletions. I'm telling you, man, that 4th down throw, going towards the finished end zone, right to left on your TV.
Yeah. Or as we call it, the good one.
The good end zone. When Malachi Moore got beat, that 4th down throw was incredible. I mean, he's under pressure. He's got pressure right in his face, and he throws it out there and lets his receiver run under it for a touchdown.
16 of 20. He only had 4 incompletions, 252. He ran the ball 20 times in this game. Has Jarquez hit 20 yet at Auburn?
I'm going to say,
did he do it Saturday?
No. Well,
I don't think he's done it before.
No, he had 13 Saturday. Should have had more, but behind quickly.
That's become, Auburn was playing from behind a little bit, but that has become Jarquez Hunter's numbers, like 13 or 14 carries for some reason.
I mean, so he's running the ball 20 times. He should have an NIL deal in Nashville with their version of Hydro Live up there or something. He's a hydration guy.
Hunter had 20 carries against New Mexico. That's the one time he's hit 20 this year. And it's the only time he's going over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Those are probably connected, by the way.
Just Yeah.
Those two facts are probably connected. The only time he's gone over 100 yards when he had 20 carries.
Is when he had enough opportunities to do it.
Mathematically, I'm going to say there's a connection there.
Okay, to that Auburn-Georgia game and some reaction from that, right after LT tells us about Dr. B. Listen, your season may be getting a little hairy right now, but LT's hair, head, has stayed hairy thanks to Dr. B.
Yeah, like when we started this venture 3 years ago, I noticed I was thinning out. Be preemptive. Make the phone call that I made to Dr. Beckenstein and that great staff. I do the non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. 205-319-0316. Dr. B offering the Sentis Transdermal Infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary as Dr. B can pinpoint delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. Make the phone call that I made, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Okay, on that Auburn-Georgia game, your big takeaway from this was that's the way Georgia usually in the past until they lost to Bama would beat people. Beck was 23 of 28. Trevor Etienne had 2 touchdowns. Was a 31-13 win over Auburn. It just looked like Georgia doing Georgia things to teams in the past. I know they're not as impressive as they were, but it was business. It was just business.
It was, I don't know. I thought it was like a C performance from Georgia, and they win the game by 18. Georgia did get back after the quarterback after not getting to Jalen Milroe. They got to Peyton Thorne 3 different times. I still just don't know if Georgia's got playmakers. I think Bell's good. I think Lovett's good. I don't think they're great.
Humphreys is getting healthier.
I did watching Lambert Smith. How in the hell Kirby Smart doesn't go out and get an explosive guy like that? Because Lambert Smith is going to end up, we're going to look back and we're going to be like, that guy is going to be a number 2 receiver on an NFL roster, and he's really, really good, but you just don't have a good offense around him.
And then there was this as the locker room turned soap opera at Auburn, it continues between Hugh Freeze and Peyton Thorne. 4th down play call. Did Peyton have an option? Did he run the wrong play? Hugh Freeze takes us into that 4th down play call at the end of the game. Here is Hugh.
It was the call was a dive left to Jarquez, and we didn't execute that play. Yeah, he absolutely didn't go with what we had called. Peyton's a thinker, and he knows football, and he decided to try to run some type of zone read there, and I think everybody was a little confused, but we definitely weren't on the same page there, and I should have used one of our timeouts there when I saw things were going awry, but that's something we've got to learn from. And again, we've got to coach better to where that's really not an option in that moment in time. That was a big drive, man. We were moving the ball, and so we've got to talk through that one and make sure that doesn't happen again.
I mean, that's coaching. If you continue to have a quarterback that you're calling plays and he's running plays, either you don't want him to call or you told him not to run. Don't want him to run, told him not to run. That's a coaching issue. That's not a pay. I mean, it is a Peyton Thorne issue.
Another sign of insubordination, isn't it?
But it is a coaching issue. Hugh Freeze has got to put a stop to this. He's chewed him out during the Oklahoma game. The whole world saw it when he points at the board and says twice, you pulled it and threw the ball. In other words, I want you running the football.
Yeah.
You're going rogue and throwing the football.
But at least there he had options. This time he was saying there was no option. It was a dive play to Jarquez.
Well, why does your quarterback keep doing this? Yeah. Why am I clapping? Why does your quarterback keep doing this, Dunaway? Tell me why your quarterback keeps doing it.
Because he says Peyton's a thinker. I don't think he meant that as a compliment.
He did not mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
That was like, what can I say that sounds nice, but I'm really tearing the kid down?
Peyton's a thinker. Here's Peyton Thorne on that failed 4th down attempt there after you heard what his coach said.
Well, we're running a run play. I had an option to throw it to. And the look that I got, we had a guy that, I needed to handle and moved back out of his original position and ran the play. I think it was number 11 came off the edge hard, and that's the guy I was reading. And I don't want to get into too much detail on that. I guess I could tell you the whole thing, but I don't think so. Probably shouldn't.
Well, number 11 did come hard.
He did.
I mean,
but he makes it sound like he had options. Hugh tells me it was a dive play. No options.
And it made it sound like there was a dive or a pass there. Did I hear that right?
No,
the play call, there was a pass
Okay,
option. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not wrong about that.
That's what I heard.
But here is what's disturbing. In the offseason, after we had multiple conversations with Hugh, it seemed like not only was he super comfortable with Peyton Thorne, it seemed like their communication was great between the two of them.
His quote was, "He's finishing my sentence before I can even say it."
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he did say that.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
So I don't know how to explain that.
But then I've also got to go to Peyton Thorne. What did you read that told you the play you ran was going to work? Because, as he said, number 11 was there quick. Number 11 was going to take Hunter's head off if you leave the ball with him.
Right, so he didn't do that.
That's right. But then Hunter doesn't block him because I guess Hunter's confused by why are we running this play now? That's not the play that was called in the quarter break. And then, by the way, there's two more defenders that are going to be unblocked because...
Yeah. Because apparently everyone else thought we were going that way.
I don't know. I mean, I just can't believe, though, Jim, you come out of the quarter break and you have this issue. You've got, how long is a quarter break in college football? 2.5 minutes?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, just a little longer than a normal TV timeout.
Yeah, you got 2.5 minutes. And the fact that you came out with any confusion is incredible to me. The fact that you came out and your quarterback's changing plays to something you don't want him to run is baffling to me. I can't figure any of this out, man.
Yeah, me either there.
I can't figure it out. I just don't know why Hugh Freeze continues to talk about his quarterback running the wrong plays. You're the freaking head coach. Do something about it. I mean, what can you do about that? You can either tell him you can't audible anymore. You got to look to me to audible. Or you could tell him, I'm going with Hank, you're sitting on the bench, but you can't keep running the plays I don't want you to run. You got to take it away from him if he continues to make the wrong decisions.
That's right. If you are literally calling run plays only, he's checking into something else, then you've got to move on. Back to the insubordination thing.
You either tell him, Lance, you can't audible anymore. Any audibles come from the sidelines. Like if you get a look you don't like, you look to the sidelines. We'll hold up our big cartoons, or we'll signal something in, or if it's 15 seconds hasn't gone, I'll give you another play. But you can't audible anymore.
Yeah.
I can't trust you to audible.
And if you do, guess what? Hank's going to be in the game.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the other option. And I'm guessing that they think Hank's a long way from being able to contribute. Don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm guessing that what we saw when he had to be benched against Arkansas is what they feared with Hank Brown.
Yeah, I mean, your best chance to win right now is Peyton Thorne. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
And so, you kind of made your bed with the guy.
Yep.
And, super nice guy, big-time competitor, but it's just not working right now. And, you really start to look at this. I think most people looked at Auburn's schedule and they're like, Vanderbilt to win.
Yeah.
I mean, Missouri's more of a win than Vanderbilt is.
Well,
right
and don't
now.
you think Vanderbilt, I mean, obviously they want to win every game, and that Diego guy's a competitor, but there's something to, hey, let's sweep the state of Alabama.
For him,
no
absolutely.
Doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, he could have great gear. I never lost in Alabama. Whatever he wanted to come up with, I don't know how well it would sell. But there are more Vandy fans right now than there's ever been.
We have a link to the Pavia family, and I reached out Saturday trying to get us.
I didn't know we had a link.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you guys in break, but it hadn't happened yet.
Okay.
Trying to get Diego on the show. Yeah,
I would love to have him on the show. Before we do Four Downs, show being brought to you by our great friends at JohnstonRVCenter.com, JohnstonRVCenter.com. Joel Klatt, by the way, at 10:30.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find them right now. You can go see American in RV from Johnston RV Center. You want a travel trailer? How about great savings right now, starting as low as $145 a month for travel trailers. Maybe you want something a little bigger, like a fifth wheel. You can get those with savings over $45,000 at Johnston RV Center. Also, RV Warranty Forever. Make sure you got that lifetime warranty on anything new or qualifying previously owned at Johnston RV Center. JohnstonRVCenter.com.
And our friends at Slice bring you the Four Downs every day. Tell us about the great folks at Slice.
Yeah, I had some friends come in from Nashville this weekend, and I did smash burgers for the boys on Friday, but they were like, you know what? We hadn't had Slice in a while, so we're going to stop at Slice. They turned down the smash burgers to do that, but they said it was absolutely fantastic. They brought some of the pizza back for late night. 5 locations, Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, the newest location right there in Edgewood. Get in and see the Bajaya Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, you can always check out slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
If I ask you guys when we get to Selection Sunday, will we have more 2-loss or 1-loss teams in the playoffs?
2-loss.
Oh, 2-loss.
Yeah.
2-loss.
2-loss.
What about 2-loss or combined undefeated 1-loss?
Still go 2-loss.
I think I'm going to still go 2-loss.
I don't know how many undefeateds you're going to have. I think Clemson may skate through undefeated.
Well, they've got 1 loss.
They've already lost to Georgia.
That's right.
I think Ohio State will.
I don't know.
I think they will.
I don't know if you're going to have any undefeateds. I think, again, I'll say this I said it earlier in the show. I think being undefeated in college football used to be a thing you could count on for the great teams. As football continues to develop the way it is, I just don't know how many undefeated teams
we
you're
haven't
gonna
even
have.
talked about it because there's so much going on, and you have 5 unranked beating 5 ranked teams. And we almost had 6 with Cal on Saturday night. I mean, how much fun was that game?
It was a blast.
Incredible if you stayed with it.
You know, our boy Chop sent me a text. He was talking about, he was watching all this postseason baseball. I was like, just do me a favor and stay and watch second half of Cal and Miami. It will not disappoint.
Oh, did you not?
Oh, I did. Yeah. I'm talking about I was trying to get him
Chop
to.
Yeah. It did not. And
that was incredible.
I mean, for Miami, they were down 25 with 14-13 to go.
Against that defense, like there's no way they can come back and win that game.
But Cal's offense was awful in the fourth quarter.
There's a reason why you were down 25. That defense was so good. And then 14 minutes and 13 seconds, Cam Ward goes 15 of 22, 238 through the air, 39 rushing, 3 touchdowns in just the final 14-13 of the game, and led them back with a lucky no targeting call to win the game. Do you think that was targeting?
Yeah, it was targeting.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I don't know what targeting is, so I don't know why you're asking me.
But so that's back-to-back week on.
Oh, but the bigger missed call was the man downfield on the touchdown, or 2 men downfield on the touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean they're on the 5-yard line. You had linemen standing in the end zone. There's about that one.
Yeah.
That one was easy right there.
Yeah. So a little protection continues from Miami. Miami looks good though. Cam Ward's
tremendous.
Yeah,
he's my Heisman guy right now.
No, they look good and they're undefeated, and that's all that really matters right now. But man, they are. This is the old the cat has 9 lives. And when is it finally going to run out?
Yeah, second down.
Second down.
Oh, so let's go. Who lasts longer, Billy Napier or Trent Dilfer?
All of a sudden, Billy Napier.
Yep, I think I'm going to go Billy Napier. Now,
I think so too. Like if I'm Florida, I don't think he's going to be the answer. But with all of the inconsistency and all of the unpredictability of where we are in the state of college football, you might want to hang on to him until you know you've got a surefire winner.
Yeah, I don't know what a surefire winner is right now, but Gus Malzahn, I mean, they got beat pretty good. That score does not indicate how well they won that game. You're at Tennessee, you've got Kentucky, and then it's that brutal finish of the schedule. The problem with Billy is even what are they right now? They're 3-2.
Yeah, Coach Nape's 3-2. He's above 500.
He's above 500, but that will not stay long.
You say that.
I know I say that, but man, I'm looking at the rest of that schedule.
I know they just beat UCF, and Vandy just beat Bama, so anything can happen.
UCF's the worst remaining team on their schedule.
Oh, I know.
Well, Florida State's probably the worst remaining. UCF is second, but it's close.
So you got path to 4.
That's 4.
Yeah.
Now here's the rest of them: at Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia neutral site, at
Kentucky's
Texas,
winnable.
LSU, Ole Miss. All right, that gets you to 5.
Yeah. We said 6-6. He should keep his job.
Well,
6-6, he will.
I only got you to 5.
I mean, Sam Pittman's completely clean and free now.
Yeah, he's probably going to get.
I think he should be too.
Yeah.
Third down.
Third down.
John Cougar Mellencamp, 73 years old today.
Little pink houses.
Better career, John Cougar or Dick Wolf?
Blood on the Scarecrow. Dick Wolf is
Wolf's
the guy who
TV
did Law and
producer?
Order.
Yeah. He created Law and Order.
Yeah.
Goodness
I'll probably go
gracious.
Dick Wolf. A lot of Law and Orders out there.
Yeah, I mean, what else did Dick Wolf do other than Law and Order?
That's all he needed to do.
Yeah.
Does he get all the Law and Order?
I think he did like
and all that.
Homicide. I think there were other shows that he was involved with.
Yeah.
But I mean, his bread and butter, obviously, that is just printing money. I mean, I would say Dick Wolf's probably worth half $500 million.
I'm going to tell you that I, at one point, love me some Mellencamp. But I'm going to go.
I'm not a Mellencamp guy.
He was good for a moment. I'm not a classic rock guy, so when he was not classic rock in the 80s, I liked him. But I'm going to go Dick Wolf with you, Brownie.
Yeah, I would go Dick Wolf, too.
Yep.
Fourth down.
Simon Cowell, senior citizen today, 65.
Wow.
Simon Cowell or Paul Simon? Better career.
Oh, Simon Cowell. Yeah. Paul Simon, I mean, he's had a really good career, but, Simon, I think now owns a lot of these that he's owned. I mean, if you see him own it, he probably actually owns the rights to it. So no telling how much he's put in the bank. I'll go Simon Cowell.
Never Paul Simon guy.
I wasn't either.
Never liked, what is it, Call Me Al or any of those things. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I do love those.
So,
Call me.
Egg Wolf worth over $1 billion.
Is
I
he
mean,
really?
That's not shocking.
It's shocking to me. That's a lot of money.
I mean, how long has Law and Order been in rerun?
I mean, late 80s?
Yeah. I mean, I watched every episode, and I watched them all in reruns. I never watched it when it was live on the air.
And it's really difficult to do good network television. Now, the SV unit, that was awful, I thought, but the other Law and Order is really good, especially the original.
The original one was
Dick
the best.
Wolf has a net worth of $1.2 billion, $2 billion of pre-tax earnings from his career.
Oh, wow. Pre-tax.
What is Simon Cowell worth?
Wow.
I bet Simon Cowell's a billionaire. Would you guys think?
Well,
he's close. I'm going to say Simon Cowell's 750.
You're close. He's 600.
600
million.
He'll get there.
By the way, political season, $2 billion of pre-tax earnings. He's only paid $800 million of taxes. I mean, is it time for Dick Wolf to pay his fair share?
Yeah. But our Social Security might not be there for us. Makes a lot of sense.
That's Slice. When we come back, Joel Klatt joins the show. This is The Next Round.
Take The Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Back with you on the next round. Joel Klatt standing by as we head to Joel Klatt. Just cleaning up, it's just been sent out a few seconds ago, but Malachi Moore issuing an apology on social media, and maybe he'll echo that next time he gets an opportunity in front of a microphone, apologizing to his teammates, the coaches, the fans, the alumni, and his family for the way he acted Saturday. Completely out of line, he says. Let the emotions of the game get the best of him and put himself before the team. It goes on with a lot more detail, but a lot of alumni had called him out about the way he acted. We had Tyler Booker on the show earlier who said he had conversations with Malachi. Malachi now issuing that apology you see on your screen. You can go check it out on any social media platform.
All right, Joel Klatt is with us, college football on Fox, and the Joel Klatt Show as well. He joins us each week, courtesy of mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to mybookie.ag. You can double your initial deposit with code next round. They just double whatever you put in there. mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. What is up, Joel Klatt? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? What's going on?
Just trying to survive the SEC road games.
That's
man.
right. So Klatt and I were texting about how tough it is to go on the road and win.
It is.
Yes.
It is. I mean, by the way, did you guys know? And like, there's a reason everybody across the country struggles in early October on the road, and it's because there's reasons for this. Did you know there was only 15 power conference, non-conference games between each other? So when you look at it, like the overwhelming majority of these teams don't go on the road early in the season and play a game against similar talent or at least conference level talent. And so when they do it in October, it's a shock to their system. I think the games that they play on the road in September are generally games that they can focus on the entire offseason, and they're healthier. And so this is why this happens every single year. And I was just thinking about that. And it's like, teams just don't play on the road anymore. There's several teams in power conference football that are playing like 5 total road games or like Notre Dame's going on true road games like twice in the entire season, at A&M and then at USC to end the year. So that's why this happens.
Although accurate, parity may be the most overused word in all of the NFL, but that's where we are in college football. And now that just the way everything is with the transfer portal and the NIL, when we've got 5 unranked teams beating 5 top 25s this weekend, it should have been 6 with Cal over Miami.
Yeah,
are we really to a point? We just had Tyler Booker on from Alabama, and he's like, on any given Saturday, and now we're hearing that more and more. I never thought we'd live in a world where a team could be up 28 on Georgia and the very next week lose to Vanderbilt. So is this a point we're at right now in college football where we should really expect this year in, year out?
Okay, so let's take two different points on this. One is a human point, which is it's very difficult to grow without failure, right? Like failure is the driver of growth. And I mean, even if you're working out in the weight room, like you've got to do sets to failure in order to get stronger. If you just sit there and you do the same sets. So what you see is in a football season, these programs, and some of them have great coach. Clark Lee is a great example. Vanderbilt got beat by Georgia State. So they went back and strained. Can you imagine how difficult those practices were and meetings were, and how many coaching points and teaching points there were in those meetings? And you've got the full attention of your team. Why? Because they failed. Okay, so they're growing through that. And then you've got these other teams that win. So even their mistakes, they kind of brush off, and they're like going into the weight room and doing the exact same weight for the exact same amount of reps, and they don't grow at the pace that some of these teams that fail grow, in particular early in the season. And then you have to step back and be like, okay, so every team has a bell curve of performance. Now, very rarely are they going to play at their absolute worst, and very rarely are they going to play at their absolute best. It generally doesn't happen. And the overwhelming majority of performances happen in the middle of that bell curve. And listen, Bama's bell curve and Vandy's bell curve are miles apart. But guys, there is a spot where they cross. There is a spot at the top end of Vandy and at the low end of Alabama. So when you've got a team that's growing and straining from a human standpoint to get better and to do their best, and they have this incredible game plan, and you've got another team that has, I think, turned a blind eye to what are clear deficiencies, in particular on defense. Now they play at the bottom end of their bell curve, and guess what? You get a point where they intersect. And so to your point about parity, every team is going to intersect on their bell curve with their opponent. It's just a matter of, can you place yourself on a different spot, in particular if you're the better team. And Alabama didn't. Alabama played awful, guys.
Yes.
The film is gross on defense. And I've been saying this since the South Florida game to you guys. The defense is a problem. Now, South Florida didn't take advantage. Wisconsin, stuff there, didn't take advantage. Georgia finally did take advantage. And then Vandy just absolutely beat them up, owned Alabama. 42 minutes time of possession for Vanderbilt? That's stunningly bad, guys. They were 12 of 18 on third down. And the last possession to have Vanderbilt just into the game with the ball was stunning. You should have seen the lack of leverage, gap control, discipline on defense. The structures were bad. The game plan was bad. It was stunningly bad from Alabama.
I rewatched the game on Sunday morning. I don't get the high 22s and all the fancy stuff you do, but I literally watched it on my YouTube TV on this very iPad so I could sit on my couch and drop it a couple of times just so I could be Joel Klatt.
Isn't it a bit therapeutic?
It is.
Do you guys hear my dog, by the way? My dog's going crazy right now.
No, such a good
You
sure
don't?
microphone,
Okay,
can't hear it. Yes.
Okay, good.
I think I've asked you this 4 times now, so I'm going to ask for a 5th. Is the WAMEC scheme, is it okay and they're just not executing it, or is it a problem?
No, there's a problem structurally. There's a problem. So they're kind of stuck between trying to play an even front and an odd front at times, and I don't think that you can be good at both. Now, you can have the ability to get into both, but it's hard to be good at both. So there are times when they get into kind of that 3-3 stack. You guys know what I'm talking about, and they kind of have that that sniffer player, the linebacker that's kind of a sniffer player. And then there are times when they get into more of an even front with 4 defensive linemen, and they stand up the edges. And the problem when they get into the 3-3 stack is that their edges, there's no edge player, and so they don't set the edge, and they're very susceptible to perimeter runs. And then the problem when they stand their edges up to create harder edges is that they're not good enough right down the middle. And then you get into this, what I think is an issue of getting in between those structures, is that they're not very sound as far as their gap responsibility at the second level. There were so many times in that game when it's zone read, whether it's like you've got zone read with an option or you've got a shovel underneath, and you've got the defense where there's 2 and 3 players running with 1 player. So like 2 or 3 guys will all take the quarterback, and then the shovel is wide open. Then all of a sudden you've got like a regular zone read and 2 players run with the back, and the Q power in the middle is wide open, or they collapse and 2 guys take, and I'm like, guys, the undisciplined nature of their responsibilities jumps off the tape, and that has to stop. And credit Vanderbilt, because their game plan was creative. They were doing a lot of things from a misdirection standpoint, and it was difficult on Alabama. So yes, I don't love the structure, this bounce between odd and even defense, and more in particular, I don't love their undisciplined nature in terms of responsibilities. When you're going to face a team like Vanderbilt that's going to be in the zone read game, it's like facing an option team. You've got to have a running back player, you've got to have a quarterback player, and you have to have the third option player, whether it's a pitch man or a tight end into the flat. You go for a case study, go watch Tennessee play OU. They were brilliant at this. One guy taking one each player and just totally snuffed out that RPO style system. Bama was completely undisciplined. Then you get into the passing game, and I don't like their fundamentals on the outside. Their corners don't play well in man coverage. There's far too much separation, and they don't deal with pick plays when they're in man coverage very well. A lot of times what I saw is that they weren't creating levels in pick situations. So as a defensive secondary, if you're going to get a pick situation, and this happens several times, the defenders cannot be at the same level, or else the picks will have more consequence. Like, you're helping them out. It's like basketball. All of us played basketball, and like, if you're the guy who is defending the player that is setting the screen, you don't go and like stay right with him, and set a double screen. You have to either give space for your guy to get underneath, or you trail and you go over the top. Like, there's ways. So you have to create levels, and Alabama didn't do that and paid the price in some situations where Vandy was able to throw the football. So I'm not a huge fan of the structure, but more so, I'm not a real fan right now of what they're doing fundamentally. They played with poor leverage. Their helmets were all higher than the Vanderbilt guys, in particular at linebacker. They were catching blocks in their chest. They were catching blocks 2 and 3 yards down the field rather than meeting some of the pullers at the line of scrimmage. I know it's a long dissertation, but like, guys, it was really bad. And right now, and this is when, like, I'm gonna feel like Stephen in front of the Sanhedrin, like you guys are gonna rip your garments and gnash your teeth. This Bama team is just another version of the Lincoln Riley OU teams. Like, incredible explosive offense, and they're going to be in shootouts the rest of the way. And I told you that after the South Florida game. And like, that's what they are. That we've had now 4 straight games of this. Like, to think that it's all of a sudden going to get better. Yeah, there you are. See, like, this is just Alabama right now is just a Big 12 team from 2017.
Wow. There has been a lot said on this show today.
Hey, with
that
one
said, probably had to hurt the most.
But hey, Klatt,
but at least, guys, I have I explained all of that before to tell you, like, that's the case. If they're going to play defense like that, then this is what's going to happen. What do you think LSU and Tennessee are going to do offensively? Like, what do you think Auburn is going to do offensively?
I'm going to ask.
Bama's going to have to score 45 points a game in conference to win the rest of their games. They're just going to be in shootouts because their defense is not up to par. It's just not. It is a 2018-17 Big 12 team.
A month ago, I couldn't have asked this in a dream, so I'm going to ask you now. If Alabama in Colorado with their dynamic offense, or I should say with Shedeur and those receivers, if they played 10 times on a neutral site, do you think Colorado could win one game?
Oh, yeah. They would win 2, maybe 20%, maybe 3 times, because they don't get to the quarterback, and that's the other thing I didn't talk about. To beat Colorado, you got to just own the pass rush. Yeah, Sanders has to be on his back. And I'm sure they could get to Shedeur, but like, we've seen Shedeur throw for 350, win the game, and get sacked 8 times. So like, you've got to like, I'm not suggesting Colorado is better than Alabama, by the way. You said 10 times.
Yeah.
I think
twice.
I
know that.
That's a small number, right? Like, this is 80-20 here, folks. But yes, like, there is a scenario where Colorado could win a game 52-51 over Alabama.
Joel Klatt is with us. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag.
You led me into that. Now you're going to keep playing. You're going to play that clip.
No.
Well, hey, listen, if you ever wanted to sell Alabama fans on it, today would be the day you would sell them on Colorado winning 2.
At least I went through the dissertation of the tape first, right?
Hey,
I'm not on here to just deliver hyperbole. That's not what I'm trying to do. This is, and guys, we have been saying this for 4 straight episodes here. Have we not?
You have. Yes. But the natural question, and Klatt is presented by MyBookie.ag, code next round, when you sign on to double your deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. This is we're 5-6 weeks into the season now. Is any of that fixable in season, Klatt, or are you just living with it?
Fundamentals are always fixable. Always fixable.
So your hesitation tells me you don't think Alabama can, though. Why?
Well, it's been 4 straight weeks of it. So whatever you're seeing on film, you're either coaching or allowing. And if you're doing either of those things, then it's not going to get fixed. You know, when it happens once, it's like, okay, they can fix that. When it happens multiple times, you're like, okay, like, are they correcting it? You know, like when the linebacker is not getting over the top. It's like, so for instance, okay, Vandy runs kind of a zone read with a motion back to kind of lead up for the quarterback. So not only do they have a back going to that side, but they also have the backside H-back swinging over and the guard swinging over. So it's like they're creating so many extra hats on the plus side. And time again, that backside linebacker from the side of the pullers steps straight up into what I would say is the opposite A or B gap, rather than scraping over the top with the pullers, because remember, they're creating extra gaps on the play side. So in order to be gap sound, that backer has to flow over the top. He has to. There's not enough players on the front side. It's just math. That's all defense is math. And so if he doesn't do it one time, it's like, okay. If he doesn't do it a second time, I'm like, man, that's interesting. And then when it happens all game long, I'm like, okay, they're not fixing this on the sideline either with iPads. That's where it blows my mind. I'm like, there are extra gaps on that side. And then everyone's like, why aren't they, is our defensive line not good enough? What's going on? There's just not enough players. On one of the runs, 2-minute timeout, there's 2 minutes to go. And they run a concept similar to what I'm talking and run it for 11 yards for a first down. And this is when Malachi goes off and I'm glad he's apologizing because his behavior was kind of gross. And he's better than that. He's such a better leader than that. But they have a free safety 18 yards back. And Vandy's creating extra gaps on that play side, which is the left side of the offense. And the backside linebacker doesn't scrape over the top. There was no way for Alabama to stop that run. There were not enough players on the play side. It takes kind of a superhuman effort from one of those players on the front side to have to shed his block and defend an extra gap, which is just difficult. And maybe you're thinking to yourself like, well, we should be able to do that. Okay, fair enough. But they didn't. And the safety's just sitting back there at 18 yards as if they're throwing. It's wild. Like, there is 2 minutes. You have to stop them. Do you really think that Diego Pavia is throwing the go route right now? And by the way, if he does, good. Please. And try to bat it away with your corner.
Did on 4th and 1.
That the safety, the fact that the safety was that far back was mind-blowing to me in a 5-point game at 2 minutes when you have to have a stop and the backside linebacker is not scraping over the top. Wild.
So
Big 12 team. It's a Big 12 team.
Let's go bigger picture, because Brown asked, can it turn around this season? I don't think the defense can turn around this season. But when you start to look at Kalen DeBoer, and the guy has won everywhere, I endorsed him. I think Kalen DeBoer is still a fantastic coach. Bad loss.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter, winning 14 games to play for national championship last year, 7 teams scored 30-plus on that Washington team. If you go back to the 2022 team that won 11 games in Kalen DeBoer's first go-around with a Power 5 team, 5 teams went 30-plus. With Kalen DeBoer's offense, with his philosophies, is this something that Alabama fans are going to have to get used to? Big picture, not just this year, but moving forward, it's going to be a different style of how you win.
I don't think that that's inaccurate. And I co-sign on everything that you just said about Kalen. And I've said that on this show several times. I think he's a wonderful coach, and he's had a ton of success everywhere he's been. The defense has not been a strong suit for him. And this is a team that will absolutely be in more of these games. No question. Minimum 2 more absolute shootouts. I mean, 2. Probably more like 4, where I think that, guys, Bama's going to have to go, and I mentioned this marker prior. The marker for me with those OU teams was always 45. Like, that's what I felt like their offense needed to score in order to win some of those big games. And I think that's where Bama is at right now. I think that they're going to need to score 45 against Tennessee, LSU, maybe even Auburn, and maybe one other, because we would have never thought that Vandy was going to be that way. So it'll be interesting. And the blueprint is out there. That South Florida put a blueprint out there. Wisconsin, by the way, ran it well on the perimeter against them. Georgia in that second half just absolutely killed them down the field. And now they've been killed by the run. It's not one thing that keeps popping up. Guys, we're seeing their pass defense be really poor. We're seeing their run defense be really poor. And then, by the way, they're also undisciplined, 114th in penalties. And that is also a consistency with what DeBoer has been in the past. If you look at his Washington team, they were one of the worst in penalties. And so it looks like it's continuing as well.
Well, a lot to absorb there from Klatt. It was an excellent breakdown, I'll give you that. And I think Alabama fans fear that you are 100% right in everything you just said here. And that's.
I hope I'm not.
I think they fear you are, though, and I think most Alabama fans watching or listening are like, I think he's dead on, and that's the scary
67 points and 784 yards in the last 6 quarters of football.
That's alarming. That is not Alabama football. All right, you can see. Yeah.
Or maybe it is.
Maybe it is now. It hasn't been. You can see Klatt on Washington at Iowa, 11 o'clock Fox. Washington coming off that big win over Michigan.
Actually, we had a bit of a change-up. We're going to follow the pregame. We're going out to BYU.
Okay, so Arizona
and
BYU.
Game.
Yeah, okay, so you're doing
Gus
3
and I
o'clock.
will call the second game on Fox that day because the kickoff show is going to go to BYU, so we're going to follow them out there.
Arizona at Brigham Young. Very,
there you go.
Very interesting Big 12 game there.
Yeah, good call by you, man.
Yeah, I like that game. 3 o'clock on Fox. That's a great stadium. Love it. Love the way it looks on TV. So that'll be fun. Arizona BYU 3 o'clock Fox is where you'll see Klatt this weekend with Gus and Jenny.
Does that mean Arizona and/or Nevada is a swing state? Do we get some political ads?
Klatt taught us about that.
I know, because I was watching Fox and FS1. I was like,
I think Arizona was last time.
Yes, it was.
I was watching all my Fox games this past week, and I was like, man, local senators and House of Representative ads running.
November 2nd. I can tell you where we're going to be November 2nd. It's not official, but I know exactly where we're going to be.
You schooled us on that one.
Yeah,
No, I think you schooled us on that one. Didn't you tell us you've got Penn State and whoever they play?
Yeah.
Because it's some sort of swing. They know Pennsylvania's going to be a battleground. Yeah. You told us that.
I'll be really surprised if we don't do Penn State, Ohio State.
Yeah, you told us that.
I would be shocked about that, too.
Well, it's a good game, though. You ought to be doing that game.
It's a great game, but we passed up the opportunity to flex and do a later time slot for this week's Oregon-Ohio State game.
Yeah, it's going to be a blowout anyway. You picked a better game. Ohio State, Penn State.
You think so? You think Ohio State blows them out?
I'm on the record right now. 1, you offended me by saying Alabama's a Big 12 school now. And 2,
well, hold on. I probably did offend you. But was it an offense born out of truth?
Yeah, I'm easily offended.
Okay.
But also, I'm going to call it right now. Ohio State, Penn State closer than Ohio State, Oregon.
I could get on board with that.
Yeah.
I could get on board.
Yeah.
I have not been impressed with Oregon. And Ohio State guys, like, they owned Iowa at the line of scrimmage. Owned them. And game should have been, even more of a blowout. Ohio State. And here's the thing, everyone questions Will Howard, myself included. All he needs to do is be like Greg Krenzel. He doesn't even have to be special with everything they've got going on. And can we just watching Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith is like gorgeous. Ryan Williams catching that ball in the air and then just running through his landing on the sidelines. This guy is just, man.
was ballet.
It just still blows my mind. He's supposed to be playing high school football right now. Like, what in the world is going on down there?
It's literally
in high school
football. It's pretty good in this state. It's literally something every week with that kid, though. I mean, it is something every week with him.
It was ballet, man.
With both of them. Both of them, because Smith had the one-handed get off me, Moss in the end zone. It's like, I think those two might be, as true freshmen, the two best wide receivers in college football.
Isn't that going to be wild if they're the first team All-American wide receivers at the end of the year?
2 freshmen.
I mean, at minimum, neither of them will be lower than second team All-American. Minimum.
Right.
Right? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Because I think you would throw in like like maybe Travis Hunter, does something, although he's just going to kind of win all the other awards.
Trey Harris
maybe
has been pretty crazy.
Tedroa McMillan.
Yeah. At Arizona.
By the way, I know we didn't get into it because there's a lot to get into for Alabama. Missouri's fraudulent, guys. Like, that was the most overrated top 10 team maybe in history, other than Florida State.
And A&M's dangerous.
Hey, and
they're getting better.
Yeah,
they're getting better.
You were
By the way, Colin Klein is a damn good coach, guys.
Yeah.
And he was thrown under the bus after that Notre Dame game. But Mike Elko's like A&M. I would be absolutely buying stock in A&M for sure.
LT was in the summer. LT told us that A&M in Texas, A&M would be playing for a playoff spot that day.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't know.
They've only got one loss, and they are getting better. Look at the schedule.
Look at the schedule, Klatt, before you completely
They're going to be favored in every game until the Texas game.
That tightly.
Go look at it.
But the problem is, here's the problem, though, is like that, because Notre Dame's schedule is just as bad, and they would be so like that's going to be a hurdle. They have to have Notre Dame be in the playoff, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of fraudulent, USC fraudulent, and something's got to be done there. There's problems.
Although I think that they're 2-3 snaps of the football from being undefeated.
Probably
that's fair.
I'm less worried about USC, Tennessee than I am like Missouri was just like that wasn't even close. And by the way, Drinkowitz kicking the field goal with 8 seconds to go.
So absurd.
What are we doing?
That guy. But go watch. You're doing the Fox game. Go watch early in that game.
Michigan State did the same thing to backdoor cover though Friday
Luther
night.
Burden catches a touchdown pass and it gets called back. And he goes and sits on the sideline and pouts for the next 2 plays. And his team had to have a first down. They were taking on water. And he's sitting over there pouting on the sidelines, and they've got a 3rd and 4, and he's not on the field.
Yep.
Missouri's got bigger issues than just what they're seeing on the field. That's inexcusable. If you're Luther Burden, you're the best player on the team. I got to have you out there on 3rd and 4. Are you healthy?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I totally agree. I completely agree with you. Everything that you're just saying right there. That speaks to a deeper issue.
Yep.
A chemistry issue within the team. And I think different than Malachi Moore. I honestly think like Malachi's that's out of character for him. That's the emotions of the game. They're losing at Vanderbilt. He's in his mind, he's like, oh my gosh, this is devastating. But at that moment in that A&M game, I agree with you. That's crazy. Wide receivers, man.
It's Joel Klatt, Fox Sports. See him on the Arizona BYU game Saturday afternoon at 3:00 on Fox. Thank you, Klatt. Have a great week.
You got it. See you guys.
You know how silly you'd look throwing a football to nothing? You needed those wide receivers back in the day. Yeah.
Klatt brought to you by MyBookie.
Go look at the lineup of wide receivers I had my last year. Just Google his picture. Beautiful man. Beautiful man. Love him to death. But Dusty Sprague was from Holyoke, Colorado, and he was lined up opposite Devin Hester one day. And I was like,
wow. Yes, it's a mismatch.
Yeah.
This ain't right. All right, boys.
See ya. Klatt presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round to double your initial deposit.
And it's also being brought to you by great folks at Woodhouse Day Spa. Tell us about Woodhouse.
Yeah,
LT.
treat that special someone to the gift of luxury from Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located right there at Summit Shopping Centers, right up of Highway 280. Drop by that beautiful location. Go see Stuart and the fine folks. Tell them the next round sent you, or you can order 24/7 online. Go on and knock out the holiday presents right now. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. They've got a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Again, order 24/7 online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
And our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. We're into the 11 o'clock hour right now. Champy's Chicken can keep you rolling towards a great lunch today. Get fired up for the second half of this Monday workday by having the best Southern fried chicken you've ever had. Quality food, that's what they offer you right there. Plus, brined overnight juiciness, cooked to order fried chicken, wonderful sides, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. Over a decade right there. Over a decade right there. At the 119 location in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling. Big shout out to Troy, who's back with us today, or as we like to call him in the chat room, 2 and 4 Troy. He's back in the chat room.
Wow.
Glad to see all you guys over there in the mybookie.ag chat room. Let's roll on. One more hour to go, plus some overtime with Kalen DeBoer and Nate Oates, all still to come in the next hour and a half here on The Next Round.
Call The Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Do we have an HR department up here yet? I've got to report Forrester. He took advantage of my age. We had a short period of time to make it to the bathroom there, and went one way. We have two options. Cleaning ladies there, so we go sprinting to the other end. He passes me because my right leg is not working today.
Jim, I got to do what I got to do.
Then we get there, and it's full, and he's giggling at the urinal because he knows I don't have time to wait and go to the bathroom.
Well, you left out your "oh no" when you walked in.
Oh no!
I walked in. I was like, "Oh no, it's full." I was expecting to get in there and at least be one open slot.
What's wrong with your right leg?
I don't know, Brownie. My 94 yesterday on the golf course didn't work. Didn't help me out at all.
94.
Yeah, not good. CPAP Plus. They get you ready to go after a good night's sleep. Tell us about CPAP.
Yeah, if you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, you can Google CPAP Plus or visit one of those 3 great convenient locations. Pelham Highway 280, Trustful. New customers, this is for the Next Round viewer and listener. They've got something special, $20 credit towards purchase of a new mask, CPAP cleaner, or even a travel CPAP machine. Offer is for those who mention the Next Round. Stop by CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service, best equipment, all in stock, all ready for you with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
Can I ask you guys to not make Alabama your stock down because that's so obvious? All right,
well,
I did not.
But sometimes the obvious is the one you should go with. Why should you not?
So we're all going to go somewhere else because it's easy. We can make it the worst of the weekend. We can make it the stock down. I mean, we can do it. We can do all of it.
Well, I don't have my stock down written down yet, so I can't say absolutely no. I'm not going to do it.
I do not have Alabama.
Okay,
I've got another blue blood.
We will get to our stock report. It's just.
I'm going to use a stat for mine. I got one.
I got some stats.
Oh, I got a stat here too.
Oh, we all got stats.
For Alabama, no sacks and no turnovers in an SEC game for the first time since 2015. Now, I don't remember us questioning Nick Saban's defense back in 2015 in that game, but
who was it?
I don't know, but we're questioning the heck out of Kane Womack's stuff now. I mean, Joel Klatt.
Did you go to mybookie.ag at halftime? And I didn't really want to play. I had a great Saturday, 10-5 at lanceslock.com. But Alabama was 13 at halftime.
Giving 13?
No, yeah, which meant they essentially had to win by 5 or 6. I forgot what the number was. Alabama under a touchdown, out of principle, had to bet it. They're playing Vanderbilt.
Out of principle.
So I had to. And then they go right down and they get 7 on the first drive.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to what I was saying. Like, this was an evenly matched game. And I know listening to experts like Joel Klatt, they break it down more and they tell you that Alabama was just horrendous defensively. But, like, there was never a moment where you're like, Alabama's going to take this game and run away with it. I just did it out of principle at halftime because I thought there's no way they can't win by less than 7.
Here's another thing we haven't talked about that is 100% on coaching. How in October do you have 2 guys on the field wearing the same number at the same time? That is just in October. If you do that against Western Kentucky, you're like, all right, first game of the year, it's the kind of stuff you work out. So you're playing Western Kentucky tonight. This is October, and you got 2 guys on the field.
Yeah, and I don't think Ryan Williams returned to kick the rest of the day, so Xavier Brown must be a heck of a important blocker at that point.
How many times did they punt the rest of the day? Alabama didn't make them punt.
But they had Caleb back there the next time. That is absolutely unacceptable. Virginia Tech and Alabama both did that against Vanderbilt, both of them leading to touchdowns, both in one-possession games.
Virginia Tech at least did it in the first game of the year. You can kind of forgive Brent Pry for that.
Yeah.
But in October? How you're making that mistake in October?
You've got a special teams coach, right? You've got 1,000 assistants now who can have headsets on.
Yeah.
I mean, one person's got to be able to count to 2. How many 2s do we got?
like in college football, if the Panthers play with the Dallas Cowboys one Sunday, it's not that big of a deal. But when you're seeing teams like Virginia take the lead on Vanderbilt and then Vanderbilt beat them, for Vanderbilt to take Missouri to overtime and then Missouri to get blown out at A&M. I mean, for Vanderbilt to lose to Georgia State and now they beat Alabama. Like, what is going on Saturdays doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't. My buddy Tom, who I've worked with in local TV for years and years, writes in and says, with Army and Navy both being 5-0, they're the only college schools right now that work with contracts. Like when you go and play for their football team, you're under contracts that you've got to sit there and you've got to serve. You got to serve the military, right? You're there for an extended period of time. It's not as easy for you to jump in the portal as it is everyone else. And he's asking, do you think this, with them both being 5-0, is this going to be the sign of the future? A little bit more stability. Should we all have contracts? And I was like, Tom, that's where we're headed. We're going to have contracts soon. But Army and Navy, they have them right now, and they've got a little consistency in their product.
Well, and to me, and I don't know how you guys feel, and it's early, and they haven't played great opponents. One of the reasons neither one of those 5-0 are ranked right now. But to me, I think there's something to it. I really think there is something to it.
Little continuity there. All right. By the way, good weekend for Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty's Heisman hopes.
Dude, right? Genty had like 180 and 3 before second quarter was even ticking.
Yeah.
That kid is crazy good.
And then, Travis didn't play this week. They get a little high-profile game.
Big game this weekend.
Coming up this weekend for them as they play a ranked opponent in Kansas State at home in Boulder. So,
listen, you got to give Deion credit. That team.
If he beats Kansas State?
Well, I know. But you don't think that. What's the point? What's the MyBookie point
Kansas
spread?
State's like 6.5, 7.
Oh, not as bad as I would have thought.
But, I don't know where you really can put it. They had that one weird game against Nebraska, but outside of that, Colorado's offense has been lights out, at least throwing the football.
AU Chase, late to the show. I'm sure everyone has been behaving rationally today. Listen, if I listen to you guys, you had us dead, gone. That's the old Nick Saban quote or something like that.
Hey, the 14 playoff, they're dead.
Oh yeah, Alabama's done if it's a 14 playoff.
Dead.
Yeah.
You can't survive that. And that's, I guess what's kind of refreshing about the 12-team format, because so many teams lose. And, if you didn't have the other teams in the top 25 that lost to unranked, like a Tennessee, I think this would be a much bigger deal. It's still obviously a huge deal around here.
Strength of schedule is going to have to matter down the road because you do have 3 Big Ten teams, 2, 3, and 4 right now in the AP poll, but we know they maybe haven't played the same schedule as others have. But Alabama's got no excuse. Vandy wouldn't resonate on the strength of schedule. That win over Georgia keeps them at 7 in the AP poll, though. 2 spots behind Georgia for Alabama, which drives Brown crazy usually. That Alabama beat Georgia, but Georgia's ahead of Alabama in the polls.
And I'm with Lance. It's not like I watched Georgia independent of that Alabama game, and I'm like, the Alabama game was a fluke. Georgia's got issues, too.
Oh, last year's Georgia would have beat the brakes off this Georgia team.
Right.
Okay, before I say anything else that could be on your board for stock report, stock up, stock down, LT, tell us about Milo's, and then we'll jump into the McCurry spotlight.
Can you name something better than a Milo's burger? The only answer here would be 100 Milo's burgers, which can now be easily done through Milo's Catering. Catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for any work or team gathering, to customized build your own burger bars, which is going to be a huge hit at any tailgate. Special offer to the next round viewer and listener, $10 off that first time catering order. All you got to do is enter catering 10. That's all caps, catering 10, catering 10 when you order Milo's Catering through the Milo's mobile app. To learn more about that, go to miloshamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Stay saucy.
The College Football Spotlight.
Stock up, stock down. College football stock report.
Spotlight's always presented by McCurry Van and Car Rental, local rental company you can depend on. All the vehicles you need to choose, including trucks, SUVs, and passenger vans. Easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, and Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. My stock up. Connor Wegman. I don't know how this guy got hurt and became a good quarterback, but somehow that happened.
I don't think I would have started him, and that's why I don't coach, because he was absolutely the right guy to play.
This guy Best I've seen, 300 total yards.
Yeah, I'll get to my part of stock up with that. But I agree with Dunaway. I think we talked about it in the pregame show. Marcel Reed, the way that offense, and look, Le'Veon Moss didn't have a down game. He had a great day even without it, but they were running the football collectively so good. I thought Reed would be the go-to. But I guess it just shows you that Wegman, the hype coming into the season, had the real one-off game against Notre Dame.
That's right. He got 100 yards passing, I think.
But apparently when he got healthy, he was dominant in practice.
My stock down goes to nighttime Josh Heupel. And you say, Brown, why just nighttime Josh Heupel?
Here come our stats.
Here's the stat from Charlie Burris, host of the Big Orange Pod. All right, that's what Charlie does, at Charlie_Burris on Twitter. In the entire Heupel era, Tennessee has scored less than 20 points 7 times. They've lost every one of those games. And 5 of the 7 have been 3:30 or later. That's 3:30 Eastern. He's Eastern time. So 2:30 or later. And they're all on the road. So road games where the sun sets, Josh Heupel's offense does not perform well. Does that add up to you? That doesn't. I mean, I know road games are tough. I don't know what the night aspect of that is.
Good news, Tennessee plays at home at night this week.
That's not a road game, so that's good. You're right. It's at home. I mean, you could say crowd noise, and it certainly played a role against Arkansas. I mean, they were, they had offsides and things like that. But it doesn't make any sense that the numbers are that bad on night road games for him, but they are.
My stock up is going to be Mike Elko. Dead in the water after what looked to be a bad loss to Notre Dame, especially the next week when they lose to Northern Illinois. What has Elko done? They've won 5 consecutive games. He started a quarterback that, you've got Marcel Reed, who was 4-0 as a starting quarterback, making that decision and really looking like a better team coming out of that, putting 41 on Missouri. And now they're number 15 nationally. So everything is in front of A&M. Still 0 losses in the SEC. Stock down Lincoln Riley. I had a feeling, it was my upset alert, that USC was going to have a problem with this Minnesota team, too physical, and Minnesota was able to run all over them. Brown texted me late, though, with P.J. Fleck lining it up, basically scraping your man. All you got to do is kick field goal there.
I know.
All you have to do, and he's like, hey, man, we're never an inch away from beating USC. But they ran all over USC. Lincoln Riley, I don't know what is going on out there, but it's not a good culture.
For me, stock up for Eli Marino. Eli Holstein at Pitt. His first 5 starts, he's 5-0. Only other Pitt quarterback ever to do that, Dan Marino. I'll say it again for you. Eli Holstein, 5-0 in his first 5 starts. Only other Pitt quarterback to do that, Dan freaking Marino. Eli Holstein could start for you guys right now in the NFL.
Hey, Snoop Huntley went one on the road this Sunday.
That's right. And I will stand by Pat Narduzzi's a hell of a coach. He was talking openly about the collective and guys being plucked from his program, and they were really bad last year. But he's got a good group this year, and they're finding ways. They haven't been dominant. They're finding ways to win games.
You better find some money for Eli Holstein.
How many years does he have left?
I think all of them.
All the years left.
He was at Alabama like 3 years ago.
I bet he has 3 years of eligibility.
Hey, I'll tell you in a second. Give me your
my stock down is Tennessee Rivers, and a mountain man. Tennessee Rivers, Luganville had the best idea. Don't take that goalpost all the way down Broadway and throw it into the Cumberland River. They should have taken it all the way down Broadway and then planted it in the banks down at the end of Broadway, and the cities put it there permanently as a monument to the wind at the end of Broadway there.
They don't care that much about Vanderbilt.
Where that walking bridge is, and it could have sat there forever.
Everybody would say, what did the Titans do to get this goalpost?
If the Titans won an AFC championship game there, maybe they do something like that, although we don't see goalposts go down in the NFL. I think better drop it off on that bridge. Like, take it to the bridge and throw it over.
I don't understand why we keep putting them in rivers. Why is that?
The old Viking funeral.
Yeah, why is that the actual, that's the end goal for both Tennessee and Vanderbilt? They're going to tear the goalpost down, and in Tennessee's case, throw it in the Tennessee River.
You want to get back to your night somehow, right? There's got to be some kind of closure.
Yeah, we're tired of carrying this thing around.
That's right. Either we need to chop this thing up real quick, or let's throw it in the river, because we got to get back to the bachelorette parties.
And you know what happened is they had to call fire and rescue to come drag that thing out. So it was a headache for somebody later on after they threw that thing in there. You can't just leave the goalpost in the Cumberland River. That's a navigable waterway.
Oh, so really they have to fish it out?
No, they already have. They called them that night. Tennessee's, I think there was fire department, all that had to come drag the goalpost out. I think now they're cutting it up and selling it to pay the fine and maybe make a profit.
Yeah, NIL money.
Yeah.
I would plant it. or some replica at the end. I like that.
Eli Holstein's a freshman, by the way. Eli Holstein
is there a chance?
All of them?
Eli Holstein is a freshman. He's got all the years.
Hey, is there a chance, though, that this is the moment that leads to Vanderbilt getting a better collective? When you can say, we can beat teams like Alabama if you guys will get behind us and give us some resources.
People laughed at me when I said this. I can't remember.
Clapping today, though.
People laughed at me, Dunaway.
Even Klatt
I don't care what you're... People laughed at me.
You clap all the time.
I know.
Not into the mic to make a point like I'm 16.
People laughed at me when I said this on the show. When we had this topic, it might have been this summer, it might have been last summer, I can't remember. But give me a program that could go to the next level. And I told you guys, I said, Vanderbilt, if anybody ever just decided, let's give some money to the Vanderbilt program, being in Nashville, that program could go to the next level. And I think they could. And this is just a small slice of what you could do, Lance. I mean, think about this. They went to New Mexico State and got 2 players and a retired coach. And it might make them bowl eligible. Yeah. Imagine. Now, the problem with Andy is most of the big money from that school gives 0 rips about football. They're off. They have a very big international population. They have a very big international population.
Probably would rather win a debate.
Probably. So they don't care about football. So that's the problem. Yeah, they got a lot of money that comes out, but going back and tapping that money for NIL.
Dude, they could be easily, Klatt said that about USC. A snap here, a snap there, they could be undefeated. Same with Vanderbilt.
Oh, sure.
Can you imagine if Vanderbilt was 5-0 right now?
They're 2 plays away. You make a field goal against Missouri, you knock a pass down against Georgia State, and they're undefeated.
Okay, EG
with a win over number 1.
Where would they be in the poll? You think top 15?
Yeah, maybe so. EG told us a story from the locker room of Auburn, Georgia, or the interview room after Auburn's lost to Georgia. We'll tell you what that is after you watch Lane Kiffin, who is just won on was that on the road at South Carolina?
Yep,
yeah,
in Williams-Brice.
On the road at South Carolina, they just won. And he's doing a news conference, and the news conference lasts about 7 minutes, and it just happens to be the final 3 minutes of the Alabama game. And if you want to know, there's a TV in the back of the room. Lane Kiffin not really focused on the questions he's getting from the media about his win on the road.
How would you assess just sort of the health of your team right now?
How many timeouts does Alabama have? one left.
They had all 3 a few minutes ago.
They have 1 left, 1:18. All right. Sorry, I didn't. I mean, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing going on. Better watch. You're not going to see it probably ever again. What was the question?
No, I think a lot of coaches, and I was telling Emily, Grace, and Taylor this before the show, like Lane Kiffin, a loss last week. Kirby Smart, a loss last week. I think they really enjoyed seeing this because, for a minute it was like, damn, this Kalen DeBoer cat, year 1, 11 wins, year 2, 14. At Washington, plays for national championship. He had us down 28-0 in Georgia. Like, how good of a coach is he? And now, very humbled after one game.
Yeah. So Lane watching, others before their games kicked off. And then EG had told the story. You don't know if it's related or not. We're trying to connect the dots here. But she said there was an extended period of time between the end of Hugh Freeze's news conference and before the players came out to meet the media. And some of the media people were believing that the Auburn players were left in the locker room watching the end of the Alabama-Vandy game because when Alabama-Vandy went to zeros, that's when the Auburn players came out for interviews.
Like the suggestion being they were celebrating in Alabama's demise?
They weren't celebrating. They were just watching the end of it in the locker room.
That's surprising, though.
Yeah, boy, I tell you.
Because a lot of these kids don't watch anything when they're not playing.
Yeah.
And I would just have to say, Lance, I don't know about you. I've never played college football. But if I had just lost my 7th game out of 10, by the way.
Yeah.
7 out of 10 for Auburn.
Let's figure out how we can get better.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is watch anybody lose a game. I don't care if it's my biggest rival or anything.
Not indicating they were celebrating.
I'm not saying they're celebrating. I'm saying just watching it is the last thing I would want to do.
And I was indicating, I think all the other coaches in the SEC were celebrating.
There's no doubt.
Not indicating anyone was celebrating. Just they found it, those that were gathered found it was unique that when that game went to zeros, that's when the players came out to do their interviews. The ratings will come out. Here's the problem. The SEC network has never gotten ratings.
I don't think they're rated at all, no. They have some internal stuff. I've been privy to that before. If you want me to try to find a number, I can.
Well, I mean, this is the time that they would trumpet it because our buddy Tom Hart, Cole Kublik, Alyssa Lang on the call, and they got to where they were doing cut-ins on main ABC and others on the ESPN platforms to show the end of the game. It was that big of a game with Vandy beating Alabama, as Lane said, once in a lifetime. Maybe, he said. There were a lot of people turning over to watch it. I think it would be the most watched thing ever on the SEC network.
I would tend to agree. I can't think of what would trump that because
the very first game that night.
Yeah, that was Texas A&M and South Carolina, and that was Thursday night, a standalone game. I mean, that 2:30 window wasn't giving you a ton other than that. I mean, Auburn and Georgia wasn't a whole lot. I was trying to think of what else was going on in the 2:30 window. I had on several games, but my focus was on Alabama Vandy.
Yeah, that's one I had on the back.
I mean, it wasn't giving you a ton. So, yeah, I'm sure nationally the SEC network probably saw. I'll see if I can find out.
Well, you had a couple of good. What was Louisville and
SMU?
That was a great game.
Yeah, SMU played fantastic.
Okay, a couple of our sponsors here. We take a break. We'll come back with trash. And then the news conferences from Tuscaloosa. Nate Oats on the show live in less than an hour. We're talking about their big event coming up Friday night where they'll unveil the Final Four banner inside Coleman Coliseum. You'll want to be there for that. All that coming up in overtime today. Show being brought to you by our three great sponsors. One of them is our friends at Michelson Laser Vision LT.
205-969-8100, the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision, was legally blind without the aid of contacts, wasting money each and every day on contacts and solutions. Finally went in, got screened out, got the procedure done. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. I now have 20/15 vision, better than 20/20. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. Ask about the pre-inflation pricing. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
And our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. It's owned by our buddy Greg from Pell City. 20 years locally owned, and they give you A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Absolutely the best in the business. Trusted by insurance agents. Free no-cost roof inspection. That's so key. A free no-cost roof inspection. And they handle storm repairs and roof replacements. Everything to do with your roof. They do it with nothing but A+ quality and unbelievable services. 205-542-3531. Or just find him on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. And our friends at A+. Brownie, tell us about A+.
That is who has redone the bathroom in the Brown house. My wife, when it came time to redo our master bath, scoured the internet looking for the right person. She talked to several contractors, read up on a lot of contractors, talked to people that use certain contractors, picked Brad Bell of A+ Tile Home Remodeling. I'm glad she did. He did tremendous work. He didn't just do it the way he wanted to do it. He came in, he got our vision, and he did it to our vision. That is what Brad does. You can call him at 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758. That is the number to call for Brad Bell at A+ Tile Home Remodeling. Lance saw the work he did in my house. He said, hey, I want him to do my house too. So he did Lance's master bath. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. And that's what he can do for you as well. Those are rooms you use all the time. And when you go to sell them, they pop. When you go to sell them, you see Lance's redone kitchen there. It looks fantastic. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. That is who you call. That number again for Brad, 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758. Trash is next.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Join me and CBS sports analyst Brandon Marcello for the Middle 8 each Monday at 8 a.m. as we look back at the weekend of college football from the SEC to the top 25 of the college football playoff. It's the Middle 8 presented by MyBookie.ag, code Next Round.
Kalen DeBoer news conference at the top of the hour. Also, Nate Oats, basketball coach, with us coming up at 12:20-ish, 12:25, somewhere in the overtime hour. You can jump on with us there. By the way, college football making the stage. Chapel Roan, hit artist right now, actually was doing a concert in Arkansas, and she's a Tennessee girl, and she's on the stage, and she was like, I guess we should call the Hogs. And the Arkansas cheerleaders were there, and they called the Hogs and the fans. And then Nate Bargatze, Vanderbilt person, hosting Saturday Night Live to kick off the 50th anniversary. And by the time, I think it was twice during the show, he mentioned Vandy, snuck in Vandy beat Alabama.
Yeah, right. Especially at the end, when they're all standing there. Thank you for watching, everybody. Vandy beat Alabama.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure everybody in the crowd was like,
but nothing
what's he talking about?
Nothing was more new age college football than Saturday when it came to the old Pac-12 and the Big Ten. You had USC and UCLA playing conference road games in Minnesota and Penn State, while in Berkeley, California, game day was there for the first time ever for an ACC game between Miami and Cal.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah.
By the way,
it was entertaining too.
UCLA and USC not faring well in those respective time zones. And I did see that on the broadcast, it was the warmest October game maybe in Minnesota history. So it's not like the weather was throwing them off.
No, it shouldn't have been. They should have been comfortable there. A little bit of breaking news here. It is from Pete Thamel. Alabama junior defensive tackle Jaheim Oats is going to redshirt and enter the transfer portal. Started 13 games over the last 2 years, according to Thamel. He's played 25 total snaps against Georgia and Wisconsin. I think it's safe to say he just does not fit in the scheme, right?
I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a surprising one. But now that you
and a guy that really came on at the end of last year.
Yeah, and he's always consistently been getting in better shape.
Well, this Bama and Bourbon's going to be interesting tomorrow. Yeah, it really is.
How long
That's the worst thing. If Jaheim Oats transfers out after a loss, you're still undefeated, you're still number one, you're like, damn, this is definitely scheme. But I do think some people will read a little bit more into this.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
No, fire away.
This hour of the show is being brought to you in part by our friends at Champy's, world-famous fried chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew down there are able to take care of you for lunch and for dinner at champyschicken.com. And also by our friends at Gray's Tree Services. Dead wood, they clean up on our show, but they'll clean up dead wood in your yard as well.
Yeah, I'll clean up my dead wood from, I think it was Friday or Thursday. Not a chance in our lifetime that Vanderbilt beats this Alabama team. Something like that.
Say that?
Did you say that?
I just said, look, I think I can't find a path to victory for Vanderbilt. Well, they found one.
It was there.
Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen those trees and plants. Had the guys out a couple of months ago. They extracted 4 dead trees from my lot. Grace maintains a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right, prevent damage to your home. You've probably seen them rolling around town. Call 205-281-6100. Tell them the next round sent you. Scan that QR code that Scott's got out there, or just go to graystree.com.
Okay, so Kane Womack went first today as the defensive coordinator. So let's go and catch the this was about 10 minutes ago, the first part of his news conference over in Tuscaloosa. Kalen DeBoer at the top, but this is the defensive coordinator earlier today in T-Town.
The finish, hard shoulder tackling, playing with violent hands and block destruction up front, and then certainly having an urgency to create takeaways, and we did not do that to any level of consistency. Certainly that's not acceptable, not something that any of us as coaches or players are going to accept from ourselves. I thought, when you look at the game, our keys to victory, number one, was to do our job and to do it with consistency, and when the ball declares, play with a high level of intensity and urgency. And I thought we played too much on our heels against them. I thought, number two was to be seasonally elite, which we have been at times, but this season. But I thought one of the real keys to the game as we started making adjustments against the run is that we were not able to get off the field on 3rd and long situations. That's something that we've really been, we've excelled at this season thus far, but we were not able to do it in the game. And so certainly some things that we've got to make sure that we get adjusted and tweaked so that we can get back to playing great 3rd down defense. And then, create takeaways was our third key to victory. And we felt like it was an opportunity for us to take the ball off them if we played aggressive and physical. Credit them. They did a great job of taking care of the ball and still having an aggressive mindset in certain downs. And they managed the ball and the clock really well. So when we don't get any of our keys to victory done and we don't play with Bama fundamentals, that ultimately falls on me as the defensive coordinator. It's my responsibility to make sure that we get our players to play at the highest level possible and to become the best versions of themselves on game day, and we certainly did not get that done on Saturday. We are all have an urgency to get that cleaned up and to get that better moving forward. I thought the guys had a really good demeanor yesterday as we met with them. I thought they had the right mindset, very workmanlike, ready to get back to work, challenging each other, challenging themselves, had really great conversations with our staff, had really great conversations with our leadership on defense in order to make sure that we're giving the players the things that they need to be at their best on game day. So credit them. They played with an edge. They had a bye week. They had a really good plan. They executed on kind of all their new things that they did, a lot of new things that we saw consistently throughout the game, not just in the first series. I thought for us, we adjusted to some of the things they did in the run game, but we didn't do it consistently. And then obviously on third down, we didn't get off the field. So really those are the two things that, we feel like we've got to be focused on moving forward, becoming more consistent when we do see some of those non-traditional run pictures that the triple option presents to you, and then getting back to playing third down defense the way that we have played. So felt like, really you look at third down defense this past week and then fourth down defense in the second half against Georgia, not to the standard. So really for 6 quarters there, third and fourth down, we have not operated the level that we're capable of. Otherwise, we're looking at probably different stories in both those games. So that being said, the guys are ready to respond on Saturday. We're already working to have a good plan thus far against South Carolina. Have tremendous respect for Shane Beamer, another coach's son, and have tremendous respect for his dad and the pedigree and legacy that he's grown up under. I think he's done a tremendous job everywhere he's been, both as an assistant and a coordinator in special teams, and certainly, what he's doing in terms of building momentum for that program. Overall, Dow Loggins, their offensive coordinator, I've known for a number of years. He was a walk-on quarterback at Arkansas when my dad was the defensive coordinator there, and then he kind of left right as I came in and played there at Arkansas as well. Has done a tremendous job in his career, numerous years in the NFL, and so they have done a really nice job of kind of fitting their personnel, getting their quarterback in position to be able to go make plays for them, both in the passing game and with his feet. So we'll have a tremendous challenge for us for sure. But our guys, myself included, our coaches cannot wait to get back out on the field on Saturday in Bryant-Denny. I think we're going to play with a level of urgency that our fans will appreciate, and a response that we all expect for Alabama to have on defense going into this week.
Thank you, Coach. Start front right here with Nick.
Yeah, you touched on adjustments a little bit, but could you get more into what adjustments you tried to make at halftime, and then how Vanderbilt responded to those adjustments?
Yeah, so I thought really some of the plays that they had in the first half were some things that we had not seen on film before. Some things that they were doing out of on-ball tight end pictures versus off-ball tight end pictures. We made some adjustments with our front and some things that we were doing with our defensive ends in terms of assignment responsibility, and that helped us out on first and second down, got them to a number of third and long third down situations where we didn't execute and get off the field. And then they did a really nice job of holding some things throughout the game, and so they would throw new wrinkles in consistently throughout the game, which kept us in a constant pursuit of adjusting to what they were doing. And I thought they had a really good game plan in that regard. But because we were not able to get off the field on third down, we also gave them more opportunities to keep throwing those wrinkles on. Whereas, you could point to probably 8 to 10 different third down situations where if we just get off the field right there, we're having a very different conversation about how we played there. So.
Front left, Chase.
Obviously, from the press box, we can't hear what's being said on the field, but it appeared from our vantage point that Malachi refused to be substituted for in the last minute. Can you clarify whether that was the case?
Well, Malachi Moore, I'm not sure anybody cares more about Alabama football than Malachi. And in that moment, when emotions are running high, certainly, he has been held accountable, for some of the actions and the penalty that incurred there at the end of the game. I think Malachi's handled it really well with his teammates. We are, continuing to work to make sure that we address it the right way across the board. But I got to tell you, when we first got here, Malachi has had our back from day one as a coaching staff coming in. He's been incredibly supportive. He's been a great leader for our players. and really does things to the level and standard that we would want them to. Just in that moment, I think got a little bit emotional, and so in that moment we were going to try to settle him down just a little bit. Sometimes those situations, it's better just to let them calm at a later time. So, but again, I thought he has handled things really well since that point, and has taken the level of accountability that Coach DeBoer implemented, and has done a really good job moving forward.
So that's earlier from the Kane Womack news conference. We'll have more of that tomorrow on our show, and we've got Coach DeBoer coming up at the top of the hour. Before he tells us about Hillside, tell us, Brandon, what you're thinking.
I just saw at the end of that, he's been held accountable, and he said he's been taking the level of accountability that Coach DeBoer demands could be translated into some sort of suspension.
Right.
I think it's interesting to watch there.
Well, he's issued this public apology from earlier, which probably would be part of that. Talking and apologizing to your teammates and the fans was one of those, in person and on social media. So maybe that, or maybe he could sit for the first quarter or half or whatever against South Carolina.
He should sit.
Tell us about Hillside.
Great place to go watch all of the games all weekend long. Happy hour, too. It's a neighborhood bar right there in Vestavia off of Highway 31. They've got that happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Great frozen drinks for the wife or girlfriend. Live music Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And during the college football and NFL Sunday ticket Saturdays and Sundays, $4 Hillside Lights, $15 pitchers. Again, they've got NFL Sunday ticket. So if you want to watch your favorite team, you don't want to spend money on it yourself, just head over to Hillside, sit back, enjoy the great food from John Holland. We had the pulled pork sandwiches, pulled chicken sandwiches last week. Fantastic stuff. Again, fantastic patio to enjoy the fall weather as well. Stop in for lunch or dinner. It's Hillside right there in Vestavia.
So, what was your inspiration for tonight? Be honest with me and go into detail.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
It is buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country while the area they serve may have grown. Their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to mortgageright.com or call 205-900-7200 NMLS 2239 Equal Housing Lender. Have you guys all seen the movie Poltergeist?
The one where the little girl standing in front of the television?
Yeah.
And then
I don't think my parents would let me watch it when I was growing up. So
fantastic movie.
It's pea soup, right?
Very first scene, Craig T. Nelson, the dad, is next door to his neighbors watching his favorite team, the Rams. I think play the New Orleans Saints in that clip.
Dude, I don't know what it is, but there were a lot of new shows that were starting on streaming services and stuff that are scary. It's that time of year, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched a movie late night Friday night after the games were over called Speak No Evil. Have you seen it? James McAvoy?
Yes.
James McAvoy might get nominated for some awards. Like, I thought his performance was that good. That movie, if you like psychological thrillers, I thought it was done well.
Is that a new movie or is that a remake?
It came out maybe a month ago.
Maybe 2 months ago. You can get it now. You can stream it. It's $20 to rent it. So it's. But again, I justify it. I don't have to leave my house, so it's worth it. But it was really, really good. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. I thought the trailer was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I agree. I was not going to see that movie.
Yeah, but after walking out of the movie, I thought that was one of the better thrillers I've seen this year.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, to Poltergeist. The famed haunted house from Poltergeist is getting revived following a recent sale. And it's coming back as a short-term rental.
Is this it? It doesn't look anything like it now.
Christian Melger and Zoe Amili with Caldwell Bank Realty Westlake Village tell TMZ the Simi Valley, California house sold for $1.28 million, which was $100,000 over the asking price. They're told the new owner is an investor from Los Gatos, California, and they are planning to turn the home into an Airbnb that will replicate the actual Poltergeist film set. In other words, each room will have furniture, decor, I guess with that creepy-ass doll that makes the space look just how it looked in the film. The 2,300 square foot home includes 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, large swimming pool, and a jacuzzi. This was Steven Spielberg's supernatural flick, which, by the way, I think, is it true? Was it buried on an Indian burial ground? I know that was the movie, but was this house actually, because it did have hauntings?
I think they actually did use authentic Indian burial ground materials and skeletons and stuff in the movie. And I think some of the cast came out afterwards saying that...
half cast dead. Like weird, freaky accidents.
Yeah, a bunch of accidents. And then other people came out and said that like they had to lay on the real bones and stuff for some scenes.
Shut up.
And they didn't know that it was real until later.
Shut up. I would file a class action suit.
Against Spielberg?
I'd want out. I'd want out.
There's only like 3 or 4 people. You get a class action.
How do I break the spell is what I'd be asking.
Hey, an argument over who stole Vienna sausages at a coastal Georgia nursing home ended with one man being stabbed.
Oh, no.
Tybee Island police said they were called to a nursing home last week where they found a man had been stabbed in the chest. Investigators say one man accused another of stealing his can of Vienna sausages. During the argument, one man pulled out a knife, stabbed the other. It's unclear if the man who was stabbed was the one who lost the sausages or not. Injured resident was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition. The other resident, whose identity has not been released, was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. It is still unclear if the Vienna sausages were stolen. Does he get thrown out of the retirement community for stabbing another guy?
Don't know what it's like in the rule book, but I would say yes. That would be reasons for expulsion.
I mean, isn't he already technically in life solitary confinement anyway? So it's hard to penalize him once he's there.
So
he did post "I'm sorry" on social media though. So
I knew of a guy that actually had a heart attack, was in the hospital. His wife got his phone and found a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have been in there. He died in the hospital. This is just a few years ago. It wasn't a friend of mine, but it was through another person that I know well, and they were telling me this story. But he passed away in the hospital and had him cremated, and they've got young kids and everything, and his body didn't leave. He basically was a man in the box for the rest of eternity. Got a story like this right here.
What do you mean man in a box for the rest of eternity?
Well, I mean, there was no funeral. There was, like, he died.
So the wife got so beat up about it she didn't do the funeral?
Her and the kids are traumatic. They go into the hospital, and while he's on ventilator or whatever, she's going through his phone and seeing pictures and text and all that stuff. And then he passes away, and she's like, what are we going to do with the body? Do you want to take it to a funeral home? No, I want you to cremate it, and we're going to leave it here. You guys can do with it what you want.
How do you explain that to the kids?
I don't know. Again, I didn't know the guy personally, but it's a true story. But how about this one? A woman discovered that her husband was living a secret life after he unexpectedly died on a business trip. The man she thought she had a perfect marriage with had multiple affairs, had been visiting escorts, and spending a ton of hours downloading and categorizing porn. Jessica Waite made the discovery almost immediately.
He's got type A personality. He's downloading and categorizing.
Now, this is her husband of 17 years. Sean died of a heart attack while in Texas on business. She reacted to her husband's secret life by desecrating and even eating his ashes. Now, while searching for the Houston hospital where her husband's body was being stored on his iPad, she made her first discovery of his secret life. According to the Daily Mail, as she typed in the word Houston from the couple's home in Calgary, Canada, the search auto-filled in Houston escorts. Waite then discovered a search history that included prices and locations for Houston escorts, and that was just the beginning of what she found. In months following her husband's death, she learned that he cheated on her with multiple women in one apartment in Colorado. She details all this in her book, The Widow's Guide to Dead Bastards.
Well, wait to take advantage of it. First of all, she's aged a lot since wedding day, just by the left to right picture.
I think it's been a long wedding for her.
17 years.
But Jessica, I'll go ahead and tell you, I would not eat his ashes. I would have forced some of those whores to eat his ashes.
Yeah, that is a weird step. I understand a lot of what she did there, but the eating of the ashes is strange.
Yeah, in this book, The Escorts and Affairs, all just part of the story. Waite found an incredible amount of porn on Sean's personal computer, spent many hours, even lied about working late, downloading and categorizing his collection. Quote, during bad spells, Sean would often be up working with the Matrix between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Waite wrote in the book, and some nights he was at it for up to 5 hours. Now, she also had to settle the debt her husband left behind due to his recent visits to hotels and dinners out with his extramarital partners. Add it all up, she wasn't having the easiest time dealing with her husband's death, which happened back in 2015. At one point, she took the bag filled with her husband's ashes and mixed in dog shit. She then admitted to eating some of it. Quote, desecrated the remains of my partner in life, Waite said, before finally saying that the despair and guilt, she took more of the ashes and actually ate them. I wonder if it's an interesting book.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be a real in-depth read.
I mean, you could turn it into a one-off series, right?
Like
One
a
season.
Netflix or something like that.
Not a cliffhanger, though.
Yeah, I know how it ends.
And finally, a woman who spent 48 years wondering why an application for her dream job was never answered has finally found out why. Tizzy Hodson, 70 years old, could not believe her eyes when she opened the post to discover her original letter applying for a job as a motorcycle stunt rider, sent in January of 1976, had been stuck behind a post office drawer all these years. Despite it getting lost in the post, setback did not hamper her daredevil career. She found a job that took her all over the world, describing the letter being returned as, quote, amazing. Ms. Hobson said, I always wondered why I never heard back about the job. Now I know why. At the top of the letter is a handwritten note that reads, late delivery by Staines Post Office, found behind a drawer only about 50 years late.
Oh, wow.
Ms. Hodson does not know who returned the letter or how it was even found. It's way back to her. Quote, how they found me when I moved from my house 50 odd times and even moved countries 4 or 5 times is a mystery. It means so much to me to get it back all this time later.
Yeah, and know that you did not get the job, that they just didn't get the letter.
Yeah, it's just that bad service.
Yeah.
Bad postal service.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by the great folks at Mortgage Right.
If you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Remember, whether you're looking for that final home or first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. MortgageRight.com, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
We're going to jump over to the Kalen DeBoer news conference coming up at the top of the hour, but don't forget, Nate Oats will join us at around 12:20, and we will talk to him about the big banner unveiling coming up a little bit later on Friday night, and how you can get tickets to that, and just where the Alabama basketball program is right now. So we look forward to doing that. But
if you're Kane Womack, real quick,
okay,
you have got a guy that still has an office in the building that loves this program. Would you have any problem
him addressing the team?
No, of him calling Nick Saban behind the scenes and say, hey, look, man, obviously my defense last 6 quarters has been garbage. Like, help a brother out.
I would love, he met with him a lot earlier, but I would absolutely love him to be continuing to talk to Saban and picking his brain.
Oh, I guarantee you Saban's gone back and looked at this film like, what is wrong with this defense? And so he's probably salivating. And maybe they'll have this conversation, but I know if I had a resource like that, you got to be able to check the ego. But something is broken right now.
Yeah, I would say that at some point you would want it to rise to the level of you at least pick up the phone if you're Kalen DeBoer and call Nick and say, hey, any advice on how I should handle Malachi or anybody else?
Well, coaches do that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, when they've played one another, they'll, self-scout one another or not self-scout, but they'll scout each other. What'd you see in me? Am I missing something? So I don't think that's uncommon among coaches, when they're actually now a retired coach. Probably makes it easier because he's not afraid to give you information, right? It's not hurting him in the long run to give you information.
Yeah, and again, I think Saban really wants to help this program.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt he does.
All right, so that's our show today. And don't forget, overtime is coming up. We appreciate you guys being with us, and we'll be back at 9 a.m. Central again tomorrow. But again, Kalen DeBoer in a second, then Nate Oats joins us live in overtime as we continue on today here on the next round. And so that's the end of this show. And when we can, Tyler, you tell me when to toss to Kalen DeBoer. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. All right, back with you now as we roll into overtime here. And just so I know, are we waiting on Kalen or is he already up?
He is ready to go.
Okay, let's toss to Kalen DeBoer, brought to you by our friends at Roback, roback.com. Promo code TNR20, get you 20% off. Here's Kalen DeBoer rolling in Tuscaloosa.
All right, we'll have Coach DeBoer begin with his opening statement, and we'll take questions. Leave your hands up for me, please.
You bet. Good morning, and I know you've heard from the coordinators, and so got a few of those things that you had questions on work through, but just kind of following up on that and in the game, watching the film and all of that from Saturday, just a lot of the same feelings I had, after the game. And I think the feelings, first of all, that the team has, certainly disappointed, upset, fired up, and I think, you're always looking at what the response is. And they came yesterday back. The thing you have to provide as coaches is the answers, an understanding of where we go from here. And I think our staff did a nice job, and I think our guys did a great job responding with the right mindset, with the right attitude, brought some great energy. Probably one of the nice things about having a Sunday where we get together is, we get to move on. Outside of the building, the game gets held on to for not a day, probably not a week. For some people, you hold on to it for the rest of your life. But for these guys, they don't get the choice. And we as a staff and them together have to move on. And we've done that after yesterday, understanding where we got to get better. We know we're a work in progress, not a finished product by any means. And that showed up on Saturday. But the key is that we continue to improve. And that's one of our core values, is to have a relentless pursuit of continuous improvement. The guys showed that they want to do that, and sticking together and owning it in every way. And that's staff to every player on the football team. So proud of that part. And there's each side of the ball, all phases of the game, where we can continue to just keep building. We have a great football team. I'm convinced of that. I have no doubt of that. I believe in these guys. I believe in them more when I see the resiliency that they have, whether it's during the games that we've played, not just this last game, but different games. The way that they prepared that leads to the passion that comes out on the football field, and that resiliency. They got fight in them. They want to win bad. They want to uphold all the traditions of Alabama football, and no one feels worse about this than all of us here in this building, the football team and our coaches. So we're looking forward to South Carolina here this next week. Coach Beamer, continue to build on the program there, doing some really nice things. Physical football team, and they're coming off of a tough game as well with Ole Miss there, and things not going their way. So we know it's going to be another fight here in the world of the SEC. Questions?
Thanks, Coach. Start with Nick Kelly on the front right.
Yeah, Tyler Booker mentioned when talking about just a lack of discipline at times that focus he thought was an issue. How would you assess the focus of this group during the game?
I guess, is there more on the lack of discipline part? What was it referring to?
In moments where discipline wasn't good, what contributed to that?
Yeah, when you come out on the short end, everything gets amplified, right? You look into everything on another level. And so in regards to that, since that was the question, you can point to every little thing that happened and it being a lack of focus or discipline and having to do it better. And I think what it really comes down to is doing it better over and over. And when we gave ourselves little room for error with the way the game started, right? They go down and put a nice drive together, and then we have the ball bounce off the helmet, goes for an interception for a touchdown, and so we leave ourselves very little room for error, knowing that the plan that they already had in place, because it showed up on film in weeks prior to playing us, is that they will play ball control offense. They'll let the clock run down, shorten the game. They get a lead even more so, and then the whole taking them out of their game is going to be harder to do because we're playing from behind. So offensively, we had to kind of probably lose some of the balance that we thought we could have offensively with a run pass. We had to speed up the game, try to add more possessions. We still only got 9 in the game, and that's having sped up the game. That's getting drives at the end of each half where we're trying to move the ball, quickly. So the little mistakes are always going to be, the mistakes are always going to be looked at as areas where the focus or the discipline wasn't there. But I tell you, our guys prepared. All the noise outside the building, I thought our guys did as good of a job as they could. Everyone's human, so the pats in the back or whatever they got, but I thought that they were focused on the right things all week long. The effort, The work that was put in seemed like a really good, solid week. The ball literally didn't bounce our way a couple times. We have to make our own breaks and do a better job of making that happen to where the ball ends up in our hands, whether it's forcing turnovers or making sure that we don't put the ball on the ground and turn it over ourselves. So if all those things are part of that question, then I guess that would add to what he said after the game. Book has a good pulse of everything that's happening on the team, and so I trust that, and we've had great conversations. The whole leadership group since Saturday, and I feel like we're in a good spot.
Charlie, right side.
Yeah, hey coach. Just what do you say to fans who maybe wanted to see some more frustration from you after a loss like that?
That wanted to see what?
More frustration from you after a loss like the one on Saturday.
Oh, I'm extremely frustrated. We all are, but we're not going to lose our cool over that. We understand, what happened, and a lot of what I see in the response, even in the locker room. I guess, are you talking like press conference afterwards or something? That's really the only time you could have seen me, I guess. I think that's me seeing what already is happening in 30 minutes, 20 minutes after the game's over. And I saw extreme frustration. I saw guys wanting to stick together, wanting to still do something special, believing in each other, expressing that. I had my part in there too, where, we understood, what happened, and that it's not up to our standard and how we had to proceed forward. And so, yeah, we are all extremely frustrated. But we aren't going to sit and lose our cool because, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. There's a time and place for everything. And again, we're still early in the season. We left ourselves a little less wiggle room to achieve some of the goals we have, but those goals are still out there, and we need to just focus on what our whole mindset is always to improve every single day, and that's never going to change. And to improve, I think you got to have things in perspective, and focus on the right areas, and our whole team is doing that.
Jump to the left side and chase.
Coach Womack mentioned that Malachi had been held to account by the coaching staff to some extent. Is there anything that you can add to that? And was this a situation where a suspension would be considered?
No, we have handled it, and I'm just going to say this about Malachi. What he did, he has gone above and beyond in owning, taking ownership in it. And this is pretty much immediately after the game to this morning, things that are all prompted by him, but also part of just our conversations. The guy, I think the thing I want to make sure Bama fans know is that this guy has been rock solid and been at a critical piece, along with others. There are some others as well, of keeping this thing together since January. Okay, when a lot of people guys chose to leave, this guy stood firm. This guy loves Alabama football. He works relentlessly out there every single day on the football field. It's the passion that I hope, questions asked about me and the passion and frustration. That's what you saw from him. And so, yeah, there's some things that, he regrets and wishes probably didn't do. Yeah, but he's owned up to it, and we've handled it internally, and still handling it internally. And so he's a first-class guy. He is out in the community weekly, as just part of who he is, doing things to give back, understanding the platform he has. A lot of eyes are on our program. A lot of eyes are on him. And, this guy plays hard for himself, his teammates, but this program means so much to him. And so, doesn't make it right by any means what some of the actions were, but I want people to understand also that he's had my and our back since day one, and there comes a point too where sometimes, as things play out, you got to have your guys back, as well, and understand that we all make mistakes, and we all, just got to own up to it. And we're doing that, and we will continue to move on.
Go to Kennington on the right side of the middle.
Through 5 games, this has been one of the most penalized teams in college football. How do you go about correcting that going into the second half of the season?
Well, I think we were doing a better job even in the game the other night. Obviously, there was the 15 yards at the end, right? The penalties, I think, in the moments is probably the biggest thing. And some of those calls are tough ones to have happen to you. I'm looking at Q coming in and trying not to, really hit the quarterback in an aggressive manner, but the penalty's there. There's not a recklessness about it as he's trying to get after the quarterback. He's just trying to do what he's supposed to do, and I'm trying to think of a couple other. There's going to be penalties that happen, and I don't feel like that was the major play in what hurt us. It's a part of it. Just like anything, I said earlier, when you do come out short, you end up amplifying everything. But I think there's execution and just things that we could have done better. We need to make sure we don't turn the ball over, and we need to get the ball in our possession. So again, we always talk about those things post game in our follow-up. We did that Sunday. We talked about the penalties, and just continuing to make sure we're working and focused on on that. And I think we had a couple games early, right, where the numbers really stacked up against us, and that's not helping our average, I guess, per game. Again, is it where we want it to be? No. Is last week's game where we want it to be? No. But I think that was a small part of it. All those little parts add up, and that's why you get what you got on Saturday.
All right, let's go to the left side over here, Michael.
How would you assess the way the defense adjusted during the game, and how involved are you in that process?
Yeah, we're always talking, and I'm, seeing whether it's taking a look on the iPad or just conversations with Coach Womack. I think the key with anything, and that's including our team, is that not overreact. Understand exactly why what is happening, and you have adjustments built into your game plan, and so it might be, mixing things up, but you also got to make sure that you're just executing against what you're seeing, and sometimes it's it might be something a little bit different, and you just need to have another opportunity against that look with the call you made defensively too, just to be able to execute better. So, you're always going to look back. Again, everything gets amplified. So you're always going to look back and say, well, we could have done this earlier or more or whatever it might be. Offensively, you do the same thing. And so, I know we've had those conversations, not just during, but after. And, again, the worst thing you can do is panic. When we have a defense that has shown had a lot of success here, through 5 games, and there's just little bits and pieces of what we got to do. We really, in the second half, I thought we did a much better job on first down and second down. The game was a first down game the first half. They put themselves in better situations. The second half, we just had to do a better job of getting off the field on third down.
Time for 2 more questions, starting with Ryan on the way.
Coach, your coaching record's well documented, a limited amount of losses. For your first loss at Alabama, what's kind of your message? Is you back to the drawing board? You said don't panic, or do you kind of just stay the course?
Yeah, that's exactly the words that I was going to say, is you stay the course. That's what the message is to the team. Now, stay the course, right? But everything is always, just digesting what happened, having some perspective, and, having the answers for the guys. That's what we have to make sure we do as coaches, so that we can walk away understanding what we can control, how we need to fix it, and just knowing that the next game, there's going to be different matchups that are strengths for us. There's also going to be different matchups and ways that an opponent attacks us. And I'm not just talking offensively, but defensively. And we got to be ready. This position group can't get, one position group who had success can't get, all comfortable. I don't think we have, because you're the one that might have the tough matchup the next week. And as a team, that's what it's all about. You got to continue to work on your area keep it within the team concept, stay the course, and just keep fighting, keep playing, and stick together. That's to me the biggest thing, and I've seen nothing but that here, in the last 24, 48 hours.
All right, we'll finish up with Tony on the front left here.
We spoke with Kane about it. Sorry, but Jaheim opting out, did that come as a surprise to you? Did you have a conversation with him about that, and how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, Jaheim. I mean, I felt like it was going that way. I think the thing you also have to understand is there's other elements to this, right? There's health elements, there's life elements, and so I mean, I was, I love these guys. They work hard, and Jaheim's choices and things. So there's reasons for that, right? And so, he notified, has notified and continued to be in communication here with us, and kind of felt like it was maybe going that direction, not just today or yesterday or just here in the last few days. So, we move forward with the guys that really are able to help us win and focused on our program, and as we go through this, and I don't want to put finality to it, but always going to want what's best for all people, and Jaheim's one of them. Awesome.
All right, that's Kalen DeBoer's news conference over there in overtime today, brought to you in part by our friends at roback.com. We'll get Nate Oats here live in a couple of minutes to talk about a big weekend coming up in basketball. But we do have some TV times for not this Saturday, but next Saturday. That includes the big Alabama-Tennessee showdown in Knoxville, where we were debating on what a tough choice it was going to be between Georgia, Texas, and Alabama-Tennessee. And then Alabama and Tennessee lost, making it easy for the ABC folks.
Yeah, it's 2:30. I mean, it had to be one of the two. Do you guys think if both Tennessee and Alabama win, it's the primetime game?
I don't know. I was back and forth on what they would do there. I don't think there was a wrong answer, because if Alabama and Tennessee both win, that's top 5-6 teams, and then you got
it was
Georgia
going to be
and Texas.
Probably 1-4 or 2-5.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, either way, you've got basically from 2:30 to 10:30, you've got 4 top 5 or 6 teams playing. So I don't know that there was a wrong answer there.
Yeah.
What the right answer was, Lance, so which one you think was going to be the best game. And I don't know which one you think is going to be the best game. I mean, I guess you would want to have the best game. I don't know. I go back and forth.
I don't know, yeah.
Because the closest game first builds a huge audience going into the late game,
Yeah,
right?
do you feel comfortable right now saying, I can tell you who's going to win those 2 games?
I do not know.
No. I can't 100% tell you I feel confident that Texas is going to beat Oklahoma this weekend, but I feel like it.
Yeah. I feel better saying that. Texas is a 2-touchdown favorite. I know Oklahoma's had their number. I think in this situation, depending on what happens this weekend, Alabama's a 1 or 2 point favorite on the road in Neyland, and I think Texas is probably a 1 or 2 point favorite over Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, just such good football still to come.
Of course, if I'm CBS, that same day I am now showing Michigan at Illinois. That's my 2:30 game, and it's hard for me if I'm CBS not to look at that and think, we could have used our doubleheader day and had Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, Texas on our network. But instead, I am showing Michigan at Illinois, which actually might be a close game.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I can't. I lean Illinois wins that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tight game. I get it, but it ain't what you would get in the SEC right there, which you used to have.
Auburn in Missouri is 11 o'clock out in Columbia, either on ESPN or the SEC Network. South Carolina, Oklahoma is the other game, either at ESPN or SEC Network. You have Alabama, Tennessee at 2:30 on ABC. Texas A&M and Mississippi State 3:15 on the SEC Network. 6 o'clock on ESPN. I mean, you're going to have a lot of SEC on SEC crime in the ratings. LSU and Arkansas at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Ball State and Vandy, 6 o'clock on ESPN+. 6:45 Kentucky and Florida on the SEC Network. And, of course, Georgia and Texas, 6:30 there in Austin. If Texas survives Red River, then that'll be a classic matchup there with the possibility of Georgia taking on that second loss and then playing with their playoff lives the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of that rolling into November. You're like, damn, how does this team already have 2 losses? And then November is the month that you've got to play perfect football in November.
I just cannot believe we're going to get to that weekend, and in those 2 games, 4 teams are going to be 1-loss, or 3 teams are going to be 1-loss teams. Assuming Texas beats Oklahoma, which I am done assuming anything in this conference.
Yeah, me
anymore.
too. Like Texas really struggled with Mississippi State in the first half last week. And obviously they, did what they needed to do in the second half and they pulled away. But can you imagine if Texas had a loss right now? Like, I didn't know, like, how do you set up right now in the SEC? Do you feel comfortable? Everybody would say Texas, number one team right now because they're undefeated. But, like, lining up the teams behind it, like Alabama better than Georgia, but after Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, I don't know.
It's a hard argument to make. Like, if I'm doing a power ranking, it's hard for me to put Alabama in front of Georgia after what I saw Saturday, even though I just saw them beat Georgia.
Nate Oats will be with us live in just a second as we continue with overtime. Big event coming up for you Alabama basketball fans happening this Friday night at 8:30 at Coleman Coliseum. Fans can purchase tickets for Friday night's event for just $10. The students get in free. The night will begin with an introduction to this year's team. There'll be a three-point competition. I think I'm betting on Sears, but we'll find out who wins that. A dunk contest. Hell, I may take Mark Sears in that too. The guy's a competitor. They'll have a team scrimmage. First 2,000 fans in attendance will receive a replica banner and a Final Four poster. You can get your tickets at RollTide.com. RollTide.com. Students get in free. Big night coming up on Friday. I mean, chills on my body when they ran onto the floor at the Final Four to see that banner go up Friday night. It's going to be an emotional time for a lot of hoop fans.
I would imagine it will be for Nate Oats, the head basketball coach at Alabama. He is with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Coach? How are you today?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. So this is a little bit like old school Midnight Madness that all the programs used to do back in the day. I kind of miss that. Like, I don't think a lot of programs do the Midnight Madness anymore because of the rule change. Am I right about that?
Yeah, you're right. It used to be October 15th whenever, and everybody's excited. Now, by October 15th, it seems like we got 3 weeks of practice in, and you've had individual skill instruction all fall. So it's not like, the Midnight Madness has kind of gone out the window, and now it's people do similar events to this.
So dunk contest, three-point contest. Dunaway said he takes Sears both. I don't think I've ever seen Sears dunk.
No, I was joking about that.
Once. I remember he was on the baseline, but he's definitely not winning the dunk game.
But hey, life online, you've got to take one of your guys off the roster to shoot for you to win this contest. Who would the guy be?
Just
3-point.
Ooh, look, I'll tell you what, Holloway's been shooting the lights out. Reitzel and Sears, obviously, from last year. One of those three, and you know what, Sears has done it long enough. I'll take Sears right now with the way the questions been worded. But Holloway and Reitzel are right there with them, and day to day, those three aren't missing too many shots.
I saw some video from Holloway. He is apparently, you mentioned those 3 weeks of practice. They apparently have gone quite well for him from all the reports.
Yeah, offensively, he's been really good. I mean, he's shooting the ball well. He's getting downhill. We got to get him better on defense. But offensively, he's been really, really good.
If somebody had stumbled into your practice, Jim, and saw 5 minutes of practice, it looked like all you did was work on defense from those people that happened to be in your gym. I get the feeling you don't want to go through another year like you did last year, the way it looked defensively. It ended up being really good at the end. But defense seems to be what you're coaching right now.
No, we got our guys to guard for 3 week stretch in March. Outside of that, we weren't very good on defense. It cost us SEC championship, cost us a SEC tournament. We weren't good in that. Like we've got to be a lot better through the course of the year on defense. So some of our new players are going to significantly help our defense, but just the mentality's got to get a lot better than it was last year.
I know you're really comfortable with this roster. Is it, and just because you have a great roster doesn't necessarily equate to another Final Four winning a championship, but on paper, what you're seeing right now in practice, best roster you've ever had?
Yeah, I think so. When you talk 1 through 13, this is the deepest one we've had. We've got experience, we've got youth and athleticism, we've got depth at every position. So, we're a little banged up right now, but even with some guys out, we've got so much depth. We're still pretty good we're playing inter-squad scrimmages and going against each other. When we come together, we've got a lot of pieces. So yeah, I think it's our best roster we've had since we've been here. There's no Brandon Miller, if you will, but Mark Sears very good college player that scored a lot of points in college and can score buckets. We're trying to get him to that next level. We got to get his defense to be better and some of that. When we were talking about scoring the basketball in a college game, he's done as well as anybody we've had here.
8:30 Friday night, Coleman Coliseum. The banner goes up, man. The Final Four banner. Fans can purchase tickets for just $10. Students free admission. All the stuff we've been talking about, but that banner's going up. You can get your tickets at rolltide.com, rolltide.com. I know the goal is to hang a different banner with finishing the deal, but just some emotions to see that one going up into the rafters at Coleman Coliseum for you, Coach. Share what Friday night's going to be like for you.
I mean, it's going to be special. I mean, they've never had a Final Four team here before. So I've been talking to all these fans that have been basketball fans for a long time around here and never had one. So we finally, I feel like we've had some very loyal fans, and they deserved Final Four. The program's kind of been knocking on the door for, various times throughout the course of Alabama basketball, and we finally got one. So it'll be special just to think about what we were able to accomplish, but then it'll also be nice to raise the banner, flip the script, and start focusing on this year.
Rolltide.com for all that information on that. As you play preseason games, some of the exhibition games, you've got one here in Birmingham, you've got one in Huntsville, obviously you'll play some at Coleman. How critical is that with the roster Lance mentioned, a bunch of guys that haven't played games together to find your rotations? Is it even more critical than normal because of the way you've constructed this roster?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a lot of college rosters got a lot of new players with the way the transfer portal works and all that. So, with us, got 5 returners, 4 freshmen, 4 transfers. I think it's good that those guys are able to play together against a quality opponent. Both those, Wake Forest in Birmingham and Memphis up in Huntsville, both those teams are quality opponents that will give us a chance to play a lot of different combinations. We're not going to have a starting group figured out. We'll probably start 2 different lineups, both those exhibition games, and play a lot of different guys together and see how it all looks. But I think it's important to play in front of people, especially for the freshmen, to get some experience. You could do the close scrimmages, but those are a little different than actually having people in the stands. So I think the deal in Birmingham is going to be super cool. At Boutwell, that's going to be pretty tight, close knit. Hopefully they get loud. Hopefully we get the right type of fans in there. I know it won't be a student section only type crowd, but hopefully the people in there get that place pretty loud for us.
Who'd you see in concert at Boutwell?
Oh, I've seen a lot. I saw Ozzy Osbourne, and I saw Motley Crue open for Ozzy Osbourne in Boutwell.
Oh, what a night!
That was before they were any good, huh?
Oh, it was the Shout at the Devil tour and Bark at the Moon for Ozzy. So I mean, they were coming to their own. They wore all the makeup back then. Pretty wild scene. Hey, I was going to ask you. We were talking parity earlier, and obviously a lot about the Vanderbilt upset over Alabama, and where we are now with the transfer portal. I would think it would even affect you guys with smaller rosters more. We saw Florida Atlantic in a Final Four just 2 years ago. Do you think we're going to have, some of these mid-major teams that when it all comes together and you've got maybe one guy that transferred in or maybe they're able to keep these together, that those are more difficult outs and we start seeing a lot more parity in college basketball?
You know what? I don't know, to be honest with you, because it's also like when I was at Buffalo, we made it up to 14th in the country. It'd be a lot harder to do that now because I think, there's just no way we would have the NIL to match some of these other places. So some of those mid-majors that have guys developing through, all of a sudden they're not going to be there. They're going to be really good for their sophomore year, and then they're going to be gone somewhere else. So I don't know. Like it's, I think it's going to be hard on mid-majors, but I do think you're still going to see some of them that are able to kind of develop some talent, maybe keep them around. So it's a hard question. I guess we'll have to see over it because it's all new. I mean, NIL is pretty new. The transfer portal is pretty new. It's all changed since I've got here. So we'll have to see what ends up happening.
Are you shocked by these upsets, though, in college football?
Yeah. I mean, did I expect to see Vanderbilt beat Alabama? No, like, absolutely not. Like, yeah, I'm very, I wouldn't think that. And again, I don't know why I'm not I'm not a football coach, but I would think that these places with more resources, higher profiles would be able to get more of the talent, if you will. Now, I will say this, getting some of the transfers at these places it's filtered down a little bit. Some of the mid-majors and places are getting more high school kids, like a high school kid that we would have taken in the past. Maybe we don't take anymore because now we're going to take a transfer. So that high school kid that people maybe missed on all of a sudden is playing really, really well, at a mid-major. I mean, you look at Vanderbilt, that their quarterback transferred in from New Mexico State. So maybe some of those places are able to get those really good mid-major quarterbacks, point guards, whatever, and maybe they weren't quite as, Vanderbilt's obviously not getting the same type of talent that you'd expect Alabama to get, but they were able to get pretty good talent at New Mexico State. Shoot, I watched that game. That quarterback looked pretty good Saturday.
Do you ever think you'd still be getting the boat on the lake in October now that we're still in the 90s in October and you're not in Buffalo or Michigan anymore?
I know. Man, this weekend it was perfect lake weather. I did not get it out there. We had an inter-squad scrimmage. I had to break the film down. I was helping my daughter write a research paper Sunday. I would have much rather been on the lake, that's for sure. But I was trying to be a good dad. And we didn't quite finish that up. And then I had the Packers game like at 3. It was like church, research paper, Packers game, and I missed a great day on the lake. But we definitely were not getting on the lake in October up in Buffalo. That's for sure.
Packers stole one yesterday.
Lance is a Rams fan. If you want to break down the Packers-Rams game yesterday,
Rams are 1-4 right now.
Oh, I get it.
Wow.
I get it. I mean, what are you going to do with no Puka Nacua and no Cooper Kupp? I mean, there was not a go-to guy.
A lot of excuses being
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys,
Packers didn't have Jordan Love for the whole first 3 or 4 weeks.
That's probably a good thing. Turnover machine now.
Boy, that
overpaid.
That interception he threw out of your end zone.
Down there late, the pick six was not good. I agree.
Not good. All right, for all the information, rolltide.com. You want to run through all they get here?
Rolltide.com. We can say bye to Coach, and I can hit it all this after we say bye to Coach.
Good
Appreciate you guys having me on. Hopefully we see a lot of your listeners and you guys on Friday night.
Absolutely, man.
You bet. Take care, Coach. Right. That's Nate Oats on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Rolltide.com for all the info on what Jim's about to tell you.
It's this Friday night, 8:30, Coleman Coliseum. It's football weekend, so a lot of you are already packed and over there tailgating on Friday nights. Fans purchase tickets. Do it in advance in case it approaches a sellout. Just $10. Students get free admission. Night begins with an introduction to this year's team. Now welcome. And then there's a 3-point competition, a dunk contest, and then you'll actually get them to scrimmage. And as he said, it's the deepest team they got. So you'll be able to watch them go 5-on-5 full court scrimmage there. This is my favorite part. First 2,000 fans in attendance will receive a replica banner and Final Four poster. So that's a replica banner and Final Four poster. So you're going to get a teeny tiny little Final Four banner that'll look just like the one that'll hang up in the rafters.
Teeny tiny. They probably want you to sell it better than teeny tiny.
I'm just saying that
it's replica, Jim.
10-year-old little Junior Dunaway down in the Smoky Road area had a little play basketball arena downstairs to have teeny tiny little banners to hang up down there would have only added to the atmosphere. Fantastic. Rolltide.com to celebrate the Final Four coming up at the top on Friday night. Should be fun, 8:30. And that does it for our overtime today. Go to the bathroom, grab a quick sandwich, a drink, and then come right back here to this platform. 1 o'clock LT has Brock Hewitt on. What are you and Brock talking about?
We're going to talk both college football and the NFL. I mean, major upsets all over the place. Not an upset for his Washington Huskies, but really interesting how that program is getting better and better. So we'll talk a little college football. We'll talk the NFL. Big matchup tonight with the Saints in Kansas City. So we'll be all over the place.
All that's coming with Unlocked at the top of this hour. But thanks for being with us in overtime. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget Taylor sending out unbelievable content on all the platforms. Forrester sending out all the content on all the platforms at Next Round Live. Like and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.